you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I stand back and I watch you explore in perfect visions like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. I can't seem to move. Now
The postseason is upon us here at NECC, and these collegiate teams all looking for a spot at the top. It is semifinals week, Jesse, and the very last one that we are going to see before we head into a bit of a holiday break. It is Overwatch time, and our semifinals for Division 3 and Division 9 will be taking the spotlight tonight.
Yeah, we're stepping away from the top divisions here. Division 1, Division 2, they're in the background. Division 3 to start. And then we're going all the way to Division 9. That game is surely going to be something to feast on here tonight.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. I really love when you get to like these, both the up and coming divisions, but also the ones that are playing at a club to get used to what esports is and all the fun benefits that it is as a college student. It's really a great experience, and that's something that I think not a lot of people remember. Is that esports? Yes, it's very competitive. You want to be at the top, but there are also a lot of ways for students to be involved. That is just for fun. It's a great extracurricular activity. You can get great experience from it. You meet some really fun people. But today we are going to focus on our bubble teams, as we like to call them. First, in Division 3 for a semifinal will be Endicott College taking on UNC Greensboro for game number 1.
Yeah, and this is in Division 3, a semifinal. Endicott going into this as one of the top seeds here in this bracket. The top seed. They are undefeated going into this game, 7-0 in the regular season, and then they swept NC State Black just last week. So obviously feeling pretty good about their chances going into tonight. On the other side, Greensboro 5-2 in the regular season, 6-2 now that they won last week's quarterfinal, and that was over Penn State White 3-1, who Endicott beat 3-2. So that, you think maybe Endicott's still a slight advantage going into this game, but it's definitely not out of the woods here. I think Greensboro definitely has a chance here to pull the upset.
I think something to really point out for UNCG too is that they have 2 losses their whole season, one of which is a forfeit, so they didn't technically play, so we can't really say how that would have gone. And the second one was the very first week of the season. So it was a lot of, we're getting used to these things, we're kind of getting our feet wet, figuring out what will works best for the comps and the teams. Now that we are very deep into our postseason, you got a good idea of what's going on, you know what to expect, and you're faced off yet again against a brand new opponent. So that's what both these teams are going to be heading in with today. We do have map number 1, I believe, that has already been selected as a classic. Any guesses, people? It's Lijiang Tower. I'm just going to spoil it for you. Our favorite map here on the NECC broadcast, and continues to be every single week.
I was going to say, when we were doing OWC these last 2 weekends, it was so weird because Lijiang wasn't even in the map pool. We're like, where is our Lijiang Tower? Where's our control center? Where's Gardens? And it was so weird. We spent a lot of time in Greece during those control maps over the last 2 weekends, but it's nice. We get to return home to Lijiang Tower here. More than likely a lot of dive going into this, depending on where the maps, the bands, I should say, kind of lay out. But also, once we get to Control Center, maybe we get to see the Ramacha. We even saw a little bit of Maga this week and this past weekend, which, if you've been following us for a while, yeah, Maga can either be great or Maga gets burned. You know, it's kind of one of the two.
Glass cannon. Like, that's all that we can say about that pick. And like, whenever he's meta, it's weird because it's like all about the ultimates. There's not much that happens in the neutral, and
it feels
pretty
almost like goats.
Exactly. Like, there's not a ton of skill expression in those types of comps. It's just down to a lot of the macro and your team planning and your overall team play. Might get a little bit of that today, but since teams tend to lean more into faster comps, and those often are harder to counter at various levels, I think that's where we see a lot of our, I'd say, top 3 divisions tend to go towards if they have a choice. However, we're not really at that point either, where I think you have to run a hard meta. I think you're still pretty open in what you can choose. Freya's still really strong. Ashe got a lot of buffs a bit recently for some of our hit scan players who might have been missing out on that too. So there's a ton of options, especially with an open map pool.
Oh yeah, and even Echo's been getting a lot more playtime recently, and I don't know, Echo is very fun, to play, but also can be great against some of these tanks that can be a little bit hard to chunk down once you use that beam. Yes, your divas, your Amachas, your Magas of the world. Sometimes that punish can be a little bit easier once they get to that half health mark. So We'll see if Echo kind of gets played a little bit more. But like you said, on the other side, yeah, Ashe got buffed. So one of Echo's best counters also got buffed. So that's, I think, kind of hurt Echo's play a little bit still. She could be in a fantastic spot. But we'll see here tonight what we're going to see. And obviously, still, Wooyoung is great. It really depends on what composition you're running. But we are still seeing a lot of Wooyoung. He just, I won't lie, feels like a better Alari. Like,
He does.
He really does feel like a better Alari. But honestly, we'll probably still see a lot of Lucio and Kiriko because we've seen a lot of that. And okay, well, the manga's banned out right away, so we won't get to see the Glass Cannon right away. And it's far on the other side.
We just had to bring it up to make sure that it was on the players' minds, you know, and yeah, so that's gone. The Pharah, I think that makes a ton of sense here too, and Lijiang Tower, one of our best control maps, if you really think about it. You don't really want to worry about somebody that is in the sky when you're trying to play more on the ground, so completely understandable from both sides today, as it looks like we'll be preparing to head into map number 1 momentarily. I do want to give a bit of a shout out for Endicott College too. I know their coach, Voidex, shout out him. We played on the same collegiate team for a while, and I can tell you, this guy, he takes his composition seriously. He makes sure that his team is communicating and whipped into shape. So I'm really going to be looking towards Endicott College for that piece in particular. I do believe it was their map pick, as they are the higher seed going in, and they had the first ban coinciding with it. If the Roadhog does stick, Jesse, this Malga ban would make a ton of sense.
Yeah, the Maga ban, yeah, it definitely makes sense. They want to just completely dive in with this JQ and not worry about one of her best counters in the Maga. But this Chaos comp from Greensboro could give them a little bit of issues. I have a feeling Average Gamer, they could get ran over very quickly here.
Yeah, you cannot leave Average Gamer in the dust, and Cameron already knows that, sees the Wrecking Ball in the back line, and is opting to stick closer to the team. And look how that works out, making sure the rail shot can get charged. Tunnel Killer currently laying flat on his back. So UNCG Premier down a good amount of flanking power. Their composition does move so fast that it isn't going to matter a ton unless UNCG can fire back rather quick. But losing out on Budgie, that will ensure a full reset and an Endicott cap.
Yeah, Endicott cap, Hamilton eventually gets boofed off, and Enam, yeah, might as well take the extra little bit of ult charge, but there's a full comp swap anyways going on. I'm pretty sure Hamilton, yeah, is swapping off of the soundbar, going the more traditional Tracer, and now we got the full mirror, except for the tanks. Obviously, Cameruner is going to be trying to play a little bit more close and personal. Max, yes, is going to still deal with the JQ, but more looking for those squishies.
You're going to try to change places, but look at all this pressure that's just being jumped into Max. Budgie, early Suzu onto the tank just to try to keep him on his feet, which he will for the time being, but a good amount of cooldowns burn from UNCG Premier, and they just can't get through this choke.
Yeah, it's so hard, especially with this JQ. You have no way to really bait her out, and she's just playing so aggressive at the moment. And Cameruner already minor perk, and that'll be perfect timing for the ult.
Unstoppable Rampage is a huge thing to have to work with here, but it might even need it. Kairos, again, finding Tunnel Killer as he was attempting to flank around the back. This is kind of that early action that we like to see from Endicott. They're not allowing UNCG to make their own plays and have not had to use a single shiny button.
Yeah, the fact, yeah, no ultimates used so far by Endicott. Massive win for them, but now even UNC Greensboro, they're starting to build up those ultimates as well. If they want to finally get through this choke, they could use this Kitsune Rush to try and break through. The only issue is that they have, well, a Pulse Bomb.
Well, Pulse Bomb is Suzu'd, but because the Suzu went out, Cameruner gets the Rampage that he was hunting for. It is even though Hamilton put in some serious work for UNCG. They want to try to win this out. That's the sound barrier, but it only hits onto Max and Visor as a result. And someone's got to get to the point for UNCG Premier. They're just not going to have the chance to do it. Kairos might be dead, but it's just Tunnel Killer heading to this point and looking to do something with this overclock, but this is an uphill battle. If I've ever seen it, does hit a couple of nice shots, gets the one onto Gone, yet no extended contest. Endicott clean sweep for round 1.
Yeah, incredibly clean there from Endicott to start off here on this Junker Queen, which we don't typically see a ton of. We've seen a few collegiate teams pick it up over the last few months, but it's kind of JQ, not in the best spot in this meta, but when you play her like this, like Cameruner is, he can make it work. 0 deaths so far for him and Average Gamer. Everybody else, so pretty decent stats. Gone has honestly played more of a supporting role. Haven't been super upfront. They only got, you see 3 eliminations. You're like, man, they're not doing a whole lot. But honestly, the whole time, they're just keeping Hamilton in check. And that allows your squishies to keep up your tank. And when Cameruner is playing as well as they are, that's all you need to do.
Everyone in Endicott is very well established in the role that their composition should be playing. And I think UNCG, they figured it out. They want to go more of a counter comp approach. Hamilton and Max on this Reaper Zarya combo that we've seen so much of, but it doesn't even get all that value. It's Tunnel Killer with the first 2 final blows, as a matter of fact. Got him through the first choke, and finally, he's able to show up and get that space. The Junker Queen's so afraid of Max's Zarya.
Yeah, the Junker Queen, once you see the Zarya, you just kind of have to pray you land some nice combos when the bubble is gone, and that'll mean an immediate swap for Cameruner, understanding that the JQ is just not going to work, and they will match the Zarya. So now the complete mirror as well, with Gone going over to the Reaper. Now these TP bubble strats, we're going to keep an eye out for those. Didn't have a huge impact first fight, but it could here.
A triple collat shot from Tunnel Killer. I just saw so many players on Endicott just drop the health bars to half. But yeah, eventually we'll rotate towards the far side, pushing through this white room. Never a good idea to push over the bridge, especially when a Lucio is present. Hamilton, that's Wraithform and Suzu out. Endicott winning this resource game for the time being, especially since Kairos has the advantage in terms of the Kitsune rush, but it's not a big Tunnel Killer very early overclock. Doesn't even have half for average gamer. And yeah, it's cool, it's flashy, but even that doesn't stop Hamilton from going down. Cameruner got up to that choke point, and the Reaper not respecting the Zarya nearly enough. Endicott win the race to the Kitsune rush, so Kairos, they'll go ahead and lay that down. And average gamer will help push through with the rest of the team. Very well played from Endicott.
Yeah, Tunnel Killer just left all alone, and yes, a little bit of a stagger. That's really about it. But 55%, the first cap percentage of the game so far here for Greensboro. And Endicott, even like you said, average gamer keeping that little bit of a side angle, keeping Tunnel Killer at check, not as much poke as they would like. And now the Graviton Surge available here for Cameruner to maybe pair up with this overclock from average gamer if they can build it.
They haven't, and because there's no sound barrier on the side, Max and Hamilton are just cooked along with the rest of the team. Endicott knew there wasn't a way to counter it. Great ult tracking on that side, so UNCG to be a full reset.
Yeah, full reset, and once again, Tunnel Killer actually won't be staggered out. Oh,
that's
no.
a yikes.
That I don't know if they were trying to catch Kairos on their way out, or if that was a misclick, but overall, yes, they lose a best ult, and they lose Hamilton, so this fight will take even longer to start. Just an absolute disaster here for Greensboro.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario for Greensboro on that push. You do both support ults going in, so Budgie, she'll open the door with that, and instantly average gamer knocked into the dirt. Max can surge forward. There was just not an opportunity for Endicott College to respond at all. You know, I'm opted to hold on to the sound barrier, seeing how many members of his team have fallen already.
Yeah, so that's a nice little bounce back fight, especially once you lose a grab like that. It sometimes can be a little bit of a boomer, right? Like, oh man, we just lost our best ult. What are we going to do? But no, a very nice recovery there from the Spartans. And now, yes, they didn't have that sound barrier earlier, but now they have it to match the one of Enom. So this gives UNC a little bit of a chance here to win this round 2.
Early rate, though, out of gone, but Kairos, that's all the healing that's instantly gone. The sound barrier will be the nail in the coffin for Endicott College. Instantly wiped off the face of the point, but how quickly that Death Blossom react was.
I wonder if it was a little too early, though, because now Endicott will still have enough time to contest, even though it's going to be a little scuffed.
Oh, but they don't have Enom. That sound barrier, we're just not going to see it in this point. But because the tank is gone from UNCG, someone's got to clutch up. In this case, it will be Tep to be called. Oh my god! A triple kill on the Reaper. Does the dance of death, and somehow Endicott College are going to clutch it out.
Nobody's looking at the Reaper, Molly. What happened? It's just a beautiful Death Blossom for an ult there. Usually, if you get one kill, you're happy with in this day and age. And now the fact they have a massive ult advantage going into this final fight, coincidentally enough, because Enom died.
Yeah, look at that. Enom lived, and this time we'll get the sound barrier off and the Graviton Surge on top of it. UNCG, it was their fight to lose. They lost it for the second time, and Jesse, there's just not going to be a touch.
No touch, and Endicott maybe We'll feel like they got a little bit lucky here, or fortunate on this round 2, but overall, Enda got a beautiful performance to start us off on Lijiang.
Gone better be getting a cookie after that Death Blossom.
Yeah.
He certainly deserves it. That would not have been the way that Gardens would have gone without it. And it does show that Endicott, when they do have control of this tempo and they can play fast, they'll do the most with it that they've been able to. But same thing goes for UNCG. It just whichever team has been able to strike first is the one that has come out on top so far. And that's likely going to be a pattern as we go deeper into our series.
Yeah, especially these big ult fights. The fact that Endicott, a lot of the time, are getting the advantage has been a massive thing. And yeah, I won't lie. If you're Greensboro, you're kicking yourself after that second to last fight. Like, you got every advantage in the world. You kill the Lucio, you have an overclock on point, and the Reaper just sneaks on by because everybody's looking at the Zarya and kills all the squishies and gives Endicott a lifeline. But obviously not all doom and gloom. I still think UNCG had some bright moments, and now that at least, hey, the Maga is back into play, maybe we see that later on during this series. And also, it's their map pick now, so they at least have a lot more freedom on kind of what direction they want to go with these compositions.
And on paper, too, Endicott, we determined to be the upper-handed team going into this particular game. So, but not by a large margin. It is a good thing to point out. So when we have things like the map pick and the bans in control of UNCG, I'm honestly expecting a much bigger turnaround because the first point wasn't close whatsoever.
No.
That was just great choke point holds that we got to see on the Junker Queen. The speed game was won. That's what happened. Got a bit closer on Gardens and honestly could have gone all the way to 3, but once we move to a different map type, Jesse, especially one like Hybrid or Escort, where these paces are going to change, that's really what I'm interested in. Because when Tunnel Killer, for example, got control of the reins here, it was UNCG all day, every day.
Yeah, I wonder if they feel good enough about how round 2 went. Do they want to keep up this fast pace, whether it be going to Reservasa, going to push, and just keeping up that fast-paced playstyle? Or, like you said, do they want to slow it down a little bit? Do they want to try and kind of figure out where they actually land in this series and maybe go to a hybrid or an escort? Neither team has really shown they want to play dive. I love it. We're kind of setting up Lijiang as dive heavy, and we saw nothing other than the ball for a round, and it got completely shut down. So I have a feeling we're leaning towards a lot of rush here tonight, so maybe not a Watchpoint Gibraltar, maybe not a Blizzard World. Kind of taking those out of the equation, maybe going to more of like a King's Row, a Shimbali Monastery, stuff like that.
It sounds a lot more likely where this is headed. We only really got to see the handful of tanks. Like, the Hazard was given a shot too, and it wasn't necessarily because the Hazard was being countered. I think it was literally just the position that we saw Max was trying to play from. You can't really jump that far or rather get space for your team, moving through that little tiny door on the Lijiang Tower Center. So going ahead, I think there are more options, but at least for Endicott, they very much like this Junker Queen. They like this Zarya. It seems that they're comfortable on both of these picks because they can control those choke points very, very well. So if it is something like a King's Row, I do fear slightly, especially from a defensive position, playing into that as UNCG. It sounds a little sketchy going forward, since if Endicott are given the opportunity to start first, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, as soon as you give Endicott the reins, they're just going to run with it, right? Like, they have no hesitation once they are able to control what's going on in the game. So that, like you said, can be a little bit of a worry, and I have a feeling if we go to a hybrid or escort, for that reason, Endicott are going to pick to attack first, because they want to continue kind of this momentum that they have from Lijiang Tower. They don't want to allow UNCG to kind of steal it away on their attack first. We are still waiting here for the map and then followed up by the bans. Both of these teams, I believe, at least UNCG, have a little bit of a different roster that they can throw in. So that's maybe why. But yeah, it is King's Row. We're getting all the collegiate specials tonight, Molly, to start us off. And yeah, so this screams they want to keep playing fast, even though, yes, it'll be a little bit slower on point A. Once you get to streets, these fights just go.
Yeah. And I think this is fine. I don't think the brawl was that far apart once we hit the Zarya mirror. It's just kind of getting through a lot of those like heavily held defensive positions that can be a little scary. I do wonder if like the Reaper might hit a ban or something. It's because it's really strong with the Zarya, but it seemed like something both the teams were comfortable playing. I'm more interested in what like this hit scan DPS is going to be doing.
Yeah.
Because again, Tunnel Killer looked fantastic on the Sojourn. Are we going to stick on that? Are we going to move to the Ashe that we've seen start to pop up a little more? Both of which very strong picks on King's Row.
We've even seen a little bit of Hanzo as of late.
Oh, don't bring that up.
The Hanzo resurgence has been a little bit weird. I know I wanted some logs tonight. But no, it's been a little weird kind of King's Row. It's been going through a little bit of a growth. It was like, oh, we're seeing a lot of Diva dive. And then over these last 2 weekends, like, oh, are we just back to like Ramatra and Orisa? And I would say Ryan, but you know, 5v5 has not done a lot of nice things for Reinhardt. And I won't lie, his perks are not great. So it is going to be that Reaper ban that you were talking about, taking away that option. The Kiriko from NECC screams, hey, we want to play more JQ. So, bye-bye, Kiriko.
Yeah, I don't, like, do you want to play JQ into the, well, maybe you're not playing Zarya if you're choosing to ban the Reaper. There's kind of, like, this thing that has been going around that if you're playing Zarya without a Reaper, it's called, like, naked Zarya, since you just don't really have that big bubble target to actually assist your team. And nothing's nearly as scary as just getting run at by this guy holding 2 massive shotguns to your head. So, we'll see if that's where UNCG end up going. But, in fact, it will be Endicott on the defense, as we kind of suspected would happen. It'll be Cameron on the D.Va. We talked about how the D.Va has been a hero that is really, really good, but just hasn't seen as much playtime because of the Zarya. So pulling her here, especially on King's Row first point, where you can just move between all these high grounds, is a great choice for Cameron.
Yeah, like you won't see D.Va a lot of the times once we get to second and third phase, because then it gets a little more narrow, and especially the Zarya can really punish a D.Va. But here in this first phase, we've seen just more and more D.Va as of late, kind of bouncing between these high grounds. I really like this setup from Endicott, even with small Genji nerf that came in this week. And UNCG, not too much different. Obviously, Tunnel Killer trying to see if they can find anything early on. They will not. And they will go over to the Ashe. So that, yeah, we'd said, hey, we might be seeing a little bit more of Ashe. We will. As well as Amar, who is subbing in. Well, they were on the Pharah, but as soon as they saw this setup with the Ana, they decided to change it up a little bit.
Towards the Symmetra, which means you can keep up a little bit better with this dive, but I mean, even then, I love the max combo with Budgie's Juno. You can go so quickly at these targets, and I think that's exactly what happened to Yanam. Instantly caught out by a D.Va flying at Mach 2 directly at his face. With that pick, Endicott, they're just going to retreat over to this high ground, playing passive, making sure they can take that full 5v5, just giving up a tick.
Yeah, giving up a tick, maybe 2, especially now that Kairo's got the kill and a Budgie. That'll be the go button.
Budgie going down here. Ton of healing now missing from UNCG. Max feeling that damage the worst, but somehow Kairos dies to the Brig of all players. I have to assume that's actually a teleporter from Amar into the backline. A wonderful move from him, completely caught Endicott off guard, and now actually made the end of the defense, even without having Max in the D.Va mech.
Yeah, beautiful TP there from Amar, just to allow UNCG to move up to that high ground and completely destroy the defense from Endicott. Over 5 minutes here for Streets phase, and now that we've got to the narrow part of this map, Cameroon will go off the D.Va and onto that Zarya, and we kind of expected this, and I have a feeling Max, once they see it, might be thinking twice about this tank pick, but for now, they will take advantage, just trying to keep Kairos at bay and not allowing them or Average Gamer to get too much done on that high ground.
And Max saw that Zarya is like, yeah, I don't know about that. Even it's
like, I'm good, man.
It's not really that fun to end up playing against. But Cameron Werner, a bit of an awkward spot. It's hard to hold this far up, especially since he used both of his bubbles pretty early on in that fight. UNCG, ideally looking for a Bob, actually into the backline here to try to buy some space. And now to boost onto Cameruner, attempting to shred out the Bob, which will end up doing, and zone Tunnel Killer, in fact, get Tunnel Killer out of the fight as well. So UNCG, they're hurting in this fight. Beautiful Bionate into the backline, landing to both Amar and Visor. Endicott College finally got that setup that they wanted, and we're going to see that D.Va swap, I'm assuming, coming in if Cameruner gets this D-Mech.
Oh, especially, well, I have a feeling Max is swapping. That's why they're not afraid. Yeah, they haven't even remaxed, so they're running back to spawn. Yep, there's the Zarya pick. I honestly don't blame UNCG, right? Like, you want to play it out. Maybe you can still make it work with the Diva, but after one fight, it's just not worth it. Now, UNCG, they can use this Photon Barrier to kind of split this off and allow for this card to really move through the center of phase 2.
Yeah, but you know what doesn't care about Photon Barrier? A Dragon Blade that Gon has. But this time, actually, he is going to care. I take it back. We're going to hold the blade until that goes away, knowing that there won't be any healing to come through. You can even combo it up with a Sound Barrier if you want to get that aggressive. But you just have the Graviton Surge, throw that in. The Teleporter, though, that gets most of the team out of the way. Unfortunately, Max, the one caught from UNCG, the last person you wanted to die there, so the push is just dead.
Yeah, everybody got out except Max. So even though the TP was worthwhile, I think Tunnel Killer got stuck in the back. That was a very awkward spot for them to be in for Gon to find elimination, but fair play. UNCG now making a little bit more swaps. Really, hey, the sim not going to work. They're predicting it very well, and they're going to see if Average Gamer can actually line up the shots here with Amar going back to the farm.
But it's not easy to do. This is a great point for Farah, just playing around the rooftops. It actually catches Kairos a bit off guard. Will escape with half HP. The nano boost on and both support ults actually from NECC College coming out, but no, it doesn't land onto Kairos, and Yunam falling shortly after. UNCG using the damage power of this orbital ray on Budgie to completely overwhelm 2 support ults. There'll be an even trade in that department, but NECC College, they're just not going to get a good touch.
Yeah, no, this should be the end of second phase, and yeah, beautiful elimination there from UNCG. They find Kairos. Sound Barrier gets popped, and Enam is like, oh, go, 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 we got beat. And then he's like, oh, no, no, I'm the only support. Uh-oh. And just runs right into the orbital ray from Budgie. So 3.5 minutes for the Spartans going into the final phase of the map. And they have some resources here to really snowball Molly. This Grab and Bob could have some trouble here for Endicott.
Even just one of these is going to be really difficult to deal with. Endicott, though, doing what Endicott does best, and it's initiating. Max gets knocked up by the robot butler of Average Gamer, and not your average gamer when it comes to aim, from what I'm watching right now. UNCG, and they have the tools, but that's just not the fight they're going to win.
Yeah, Endicott don't allow UNCG to set up. They will just pop the bomb early, and actually does find Max, who had to use a bubble early on, so didn't have a ton of bubbles to work with, and this is a nasty spot, but a very risky one from Kairos.
Yeah, trying to make it happen, but it's not really gonna get all that much. The Graviton Surge out of Cameroon first, and UNCG, they're just not hitting any buttons. Endicott are going first, mainly because they know that they have the tools, and they don't want to get their opponent a chance to fight back.
And they're really starting to rotate these ultimates, Molly, because yeah, last fight they used the Bob, then they used the Grab. This next fight, they're going to have this Dragon Blade if the Spartans don't play this fast enough.
Yeah, but because there's not something to use immediately, UNCG should please hit a button. Please hit a button. Somebody hit a button. There we go. Tunnel Killer. That's my MVP right there. Chuck the Bob into the backline and put the Grab onto the Nano Genji. Eventually will burn through Gon, but he just held onto the Dragon Blade, knowing that's not a fight that was going to win. So UNCG, they used the 2 ultimates. Key point holding onto the orbital ray for another fight.
Very heads up and very good heads up play there from Gon. Like, hey, I'm in Grab. I'm not gonna pop the split as much as I want to with the Nano. It's not worth it. Now they can at least play around the Sound Barrier here for Enam to move back in, but a very important fight here for UNCG, and they're gonna open up with the Ray.
Orbital Ray is out, but here's that B-Blade that we've been hearing so much about. And that's 2, that's 3 now. We're going Genji hit the 4th. Everybody is sliced into pieces. A whole team kill, single-handedly, into the cans of Endicott's Genji.
Dude, that was nasty. Absolutely filthy. Who needs a Nano, right, when you got a Sound Barrier to work with?
Yeah.
Now, UNCG, just over a minute. They held on to the barrage, and they'll have this rally to kind of build up some health early on. But again, Kairos, this very risky spot. They're going to get punished this time, I think.
There's no way he gets out of this alive. No, please don't die to the no shot. He gets a Mar, and I mean, yeah, he'll die eventually, but getting a Mar there, that's a ton less damage that Endicott have less to worry about, and the orbital rate is gone. UNCG were banking on that barrage to help get them through this slack section, and they're just in an awkward push of deciding whether to push or not, eventually end up retreating.
Yeah, they need that barrage to kind of start off this next fight. So they'll have to hold on, but Average Gamer now has this Bob, which is going to kind of dissuade this barrage even longer.
Time is not on your side if you're UNCG either. That is 23 seconds on the time bank. Thankfully, they're in a position that you can just cut away from the Bob. And Endicott are playing this so well. Max, is that off the map? If I saw that correctly. And yet there's another Graviton Surge online. Cameruner built these up so quickly. And Endicott College, they are not giving UNCG what they want to touch. I don't think it's going to happen with how that speedy Nano Zarya is racing towards the spawn. And that time bank will whittle on down. UNCG stopped just short of a full completion.
So it's not a bad run here for UNC Greensboro, especially considering how Lijiang went. But yeah, definitely was feeling like they could have done better in the final phase, especially when they had 3.5 minutes going into it. But a nice stabilization there from Endicott to slow things down. And just like on Lijiang Tower, it took maybe a fight or two to kind of get back in their rhythm. They eventually ride it out near the end. And Endicott, again, they look great on this Zarya, and they're doing a much better job right now than Greensboro and rotating the ults, even though, man, Cairo, some of these angles, man, are a little risky.
It's playing with my heart here. I can tell you that. In good ways, it's pretty cool. You flanked and you killed a Pharah by yourself. W on a player. However, you're also like the main source of healing for your team. So if you're going to get away with some sort of shenanigans like that, you better make sure that it ends up counting. We'll see what Endicott end up doing on the attack, and we'll touch base on the support comp in a moment. But for now, UNCG on the defense, it is that Malga that we saw banned away earlier on in Lijiang Tower. They really want to bunker down now in that front line, so Tunnel Killer and Amar can have more of these angles.
Yeah, we were wondering when this Malga was going to show up. We heard some rumors that, hey, the Malga could be showing up here in some way, shape, or form. And of course, that gets banned map 1. Now it is here, and this is just damage, damage, and more damage from Greensboro. As yeah, you have to deal with the Pharah in the air, a lot of dynamite tick damage from Tunnel Killer as well, and the burn damage from Max. It's good. Endicott have to play this really smart. They're actually gonna stick on this Widow, and it almost pays off.
Yeah, Tunnel Killer actually just got real lucky there. That shot just wide. Max is currently in the spawns of Endicott at this time, which is not great, supposedly, but Average Gamer getting that pick on the way out. That means both supports of UNCG are currently dead, and Max is just kind of in the middle of the point. He's like, well, there's like a bunch of flies going around me. I have like a 2-inch long fly swatter that I can throw at him, so I'm just gonna run away, give up a tick or two, and eventually re-engage.
Yeah, Mar didn't have that luxury to get out. Gone, closed the gap real fast. And this Widow pick, they hold on and eventually finds the worth, and that'll end up being the end here of first phase. Yes, it'll be Max kind of going in, but due to a Bionade, and yeah, that was not going to last long. Right? That was disgusting. But yeah, Endicott, dream scenario here to start off.
They get all of this free space too. It's forcing UNCG to make swaps, and the stagger onto Budgie. With her going down, there's just not going to be a fast re-engage at all. And they're just fully living on the Average Gamer. Oh, I hit a shot of Widow. I'm going to stick it instead of taking my one shot and swapping.
I was like, hey man, like I know you want to snipe too, but like, come on, heal your sniper a little bit here if you could. But this is a beautiful start here for Endicott, and this is kind of what we feared for Greensboro. Like once Endicott can get the pace going, it can be a dangerous situation. Max swaps over to the Zarya. That will trigger a swap from Cameruner. They're not even going to try this maybe one fight on the Diva against the Zarya. They're just going to swap right away.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. UNCG, though, fighting into the visor of Average Gamer. Yes, Tunnel Killer swapped to Mir, but why? Why would you do that? There was sights up. They can see you, Tunnel Killer, my dude. Oh, Endicott just fed a free pick. It is traded out on the other side. Gone a little too aggressive into the back line against the likes of the supports, but Cameroon has the nano to back it up. And man, this guy is zooming with that extra perk that Kairos is locked in. Bit of a messy fight, but that's going to favor Endicott any day of the week. So it's basically going to be last fight territory by the time UNCG regroup.
Yeah, Tunnel Killer a little bit tunnel visioned going into that fight. That was... Yeah, maybe they could tell they were probably just like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But this Widow v Widow, we don't see a lot of Widow 1v1s once we get through first phase, but hey, I'm all for it, man. It's the playoff. Shoot your shot.
I mean, they're shooting their shots, but so far it's been Average Gamer, the one that's been hitting them. UNCG, they have a chance to touch. There's a bio nade out early, was nice on it too. Got the bubbles out, you know, I'm like, this is go time, go, go, go. We press the sound barrier, Amar bowled over, and without that, it's gonna be harder to stall on out. It is a 2 for 2. Graviton Surge is committed from UNCG, but they have like a quarter of a meter left remaining on this point, and even that, it's just not gonna be enough with how far away your supports have been zoned. 4.5 minutes, Jesse, plus some for Endicott College to get not even through the point.
Yeah, especially with that Kiriko being banned, Kairos is taking full advantage of it this entire series, and it's being an issue. Now, another set of swaps coming in here for the Spartans. Full on flank, that means AKA they're sick of Kairos and they're sick of Average Gamer. Something's got to be done with the two snipers, but you worry if it's a little bit too little too late.
Well, I mean, Tunnel Killer, that's tunnel vision paid off, I guess. You do get to the fight faster. It's just not really worth it. When there's a grab that Endicott can still use, it's that blade comboed into it. So it'll be 2 for gone. Make that a triple once more. Half this guy's kills are going to be Dragon Blades, I swear.
Yeah, at this point, it might be half, if not a third. A lot of the kills through the blade. Gwyn's last fight, potentially, they got the Infrasight to set up. Nano to maybe go on to Cameruner once again. The one shining light could be this ray that almost doesn't get off.
Yeah, it's one big shining light if you look at it for too long, but even then, it's just not enough. Tunnel Killer, tunnel vision once more into the back line, and I just can't find a way to make it work. The Nano Boost is live and kicking, and I can't quite say the name for Max on this point. Cameruner continuing to microwave people down if they stand too close to him, which is Budgie. In that particular instance, the golden box within the sightlines of Endicott College. One more map. They want to make sure that's all it's going to be to move through, but these respawns from UNCG are coming in fast. The pulse bomb is there, and Max is back on the point. Endicott, they ran out of juice just short of the finish line here, and it'll be UNCG holding on here longer.
Okay, and the fact that they had to get out sound barrier as well.
Yeah.
From Enom near the end, that's actually a massive fight win here for the Spartans to give themselves a chance, because now they have this Grav Blade combo going into this next fight. With that sound barrier gone, there is no counter from Endicott. So if they can win this fight, hey, maybe a chance here for the Spartans to mount a comeback.
You would think Max has got to stay alive, getting below a quarter HP. They're both bubbles expended. But the Graviton Surge is ready to go. Will land onto 3. That'll be fight ended as soon as it started. Endicott back spawns.
Yeah, and they will stagger out Enom as well. So that'll draw a little bit more time, Average Gamer. Now, consider how much they've been getting. Dove will make over and go to the swap on the Cassidy. Honestly, I don't blame him whatsoever. I have been in that kind of situation. You get sick of it at some point. Blade's still available here for Premier. Oh no! No!
But if you slip on Tunnel Killer, not onto Amar. Amar's blade is still ready to go here. It'll help slice his way through too. Both supports are down. That looked scary at first, but Tunnel Killer, just the sacrifice, just the carrot dangling over Endicott's head before the real threat struck.
I just saw a little squishy flaker, and I'm thinking, oh no, not again, not again. But yeah, great blade there from Amar. But yeah, even though Tunnel Killer is the sacrifice, now they have the pulse bomb. And again, this is starting to get real here. Only a minute and a half remaining here for Endicott.
Real sure, but I see a Graviton Surge and no sound barrier. It's not looking good for UNCG as quickly as Max and Tunnel Killer bursted down. It's a 5v3 in with a blade, and now out of its sheath for gone. Might not find any final blows, and the Rage Axe to close it off. UNCG on their last libs. They're pulling out the Boostio to keep people out of spawns, and maybe it's something you can take advantage of, but if Mars already dead, the Ajax too!
Oh,
no!
my God.
UNCG, it's all going wrong in the last fight. The Lucio gets 2. Oh my goodness, Endicott College, what a way to put an end to Kings Row. They're up to match point. One more map, and they're moving on to the finals.
It's not often you get a Ragex, a Boostio, and an Ajax within, what, 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, it's a wild timeline we're in here in Division 3 semifinals. But Endicott, again, they get pushed a little bit here by UNC Greensboro, but Gone, I will say, had a phenomenal performance on the Genji, especially with these blades. Always was very efficient with making sure they knew exactly when to go in and when to pop that deflect to kind of live just that a little bit longer. Fantastic play overall from Endicott, and now it is a reverse sweep that is needed here from Greensboro to keep their playoff hopes alive.
It's going to be a tough one, especially in the type of game that we have been playing so far. It's been very lights out, Endicott push where they want to push, and if UNCG have the resources to act first, they'll do it. But as soon as they don't, Jesse, it's so difficult to keep up with this pace that Endicott has been setting.
Yeah, Endicott is like, hey, 100%, go, 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 go. Unless there's a big ultimate use from Greensboro, and they're like, hey, we're going to back up. Like, we're going to put on the brake lights. We're just going to back up for a little bit. And that's a fantastic trait to have. Knowing when, as much as you want to play incredibly quick, knowing when you have to slow it down because you don't want to play into the counter punch on the other side. But now you wonder, what is the play call here for the Spartans? Obviously, control and hybrid are gone as options. We're going to give them a little bit of time here. We're going to go on a quick break. We'll see if Greensboro can bring us to a map 4, or if Endicott will sweep their way into the finals.
Go on myself. I'm cold steel stainless. My glass half full. Always said don't suffer no fools. Serpents daydream. I bite, you call me lovely. Got a sweet tooth. I'm gonna get the sugar from you. When they say I'm a machine gun, I take it as a compliment. Honey, you should know I can be a weapon. I can be a weapon. Come cold blood, selfish. Your words are painless. I like when I drive and feel so dangerous. They say I'm a red flag, 'cause they want it so bad. You should know I'm holding on to what I had. When they say I'm a machine gun, I take it as a
Division 3 semifinals are flying by rather fast here for the East region, and you gotta say, Jesse, it's starting to get a little bit scary for UNCG. Endicott up 2-0 and have been in control of the pacing 90% of the time out of the fights that we have seen taken. Now it's up to UNCG to pick up map and have a set of bans that'll get them on the path for a reverse sweep. Otherwise, their season will end here.
Yeah, let's see if Greensboro got a few extra wild cards to play here to keep their dreams alive. It is their map pick and first ban once again here in map 3. Push, Flashpoint, and well, we won't have to worry about Escort because it's man, we're getting really the collegiate special here. Lijiang into Kings Row, into Suravasa. Granted, Suravasa is a phenomenal map. So like no complaints here. New Junk City, even with the rework. Like I don't know, man. That one Flashpoint that's like the inside.
You don't know the Flashpoint names?
No.
Jesse!
No. I'm a horrible caster. I know.
I'm so disappointed. You're the color caster. You're supposed to know
I
these things, man.
Dude, I've been learning metas, not Flashpoints.
Well, speaking of meta, Juno typically wasn't on our list for a meta pick, but because of how much UNCG did play it in map number 2, that is going to be the Endicott ban in response to the Diva being taken away. The Diva makes a ton of sense. Cameruner, I think, had a much better pacing on that, and Suravasa as a whole can lead more dive-centric if that's where you choose.
Cameron, are we good? Are we? I was say like I know like you guys have been throwing out some interesting comps tonight. I don't know if the Roadhog is it though. UNCG again. They've been showing this. They want to run this kind of fast-paced dive, but it's been countered out every single time by Endicott. We'll see here if this Winston variant of this comp with the Sombra Tracer will work out instead. Endicott may be not expecting it considering the Diva has been banned out. But let's see here. Honestly, this Cameroon or Zarya has just been so good today.
Yeah, I see pain in Max's future. Not only because of Cameroon, but mainly because Gone can just walk up as a Reaper into a Winston, which is not fun. And then you have a Zarya on top of it. Plus, Tunnel Killer is already dead. Instant turn and burn on to the Winston. Camerooner never overstepping his bounds. Nice secondary fire, too, to finish off Visor and UNCG far and away from getting the first cap.
Yeah, the gamble did not necessarily work that time for Greensboro. It's going to be weird here because Gone will be looking at Max the entire time. Like, oh, giant target that doesn't have the best escape in the world? Yeah, I'm jumping on that. So Max, like you can tell, has to play super passive because if they take one little misstep and Budgie can't see them, it's going to be a wrap.
It's just overall not going to be a good time to get to this point, which is why you're really relying on Hamilton
and Tunnel
to set up these flanks. Or in this case, Vice Reality on the Lucio will get the Reaper away, but he just doesn't respect the damage that's output by Average Gamer. And because of that, the Winston's dead. Lucio doesn't have that much better of block in Endicott College. They're going to keep their control and even have a stagger out on Hamilton if they're not careful.
The fact Hamilton lives there, actually some great heals.
Yeah.
From Budgie. She keeps up her Sombra and keeps up the potential touch here to start the overtime. But this Winston has now worked so far. Camerooner, all they really had to do is kind of posture. They haven't really had to do a whole lot more else in the front line. It's been the DPS doing the work.
Yeah, this has been all Average Gamer and Gone so far. It's Camerooner, of course, empowering them, giving them the space and just the consistency. UNCG, they have this fast comp, and in long fights like this, if it gets scrappy, it can work. Tunnel Killer coming up with a couple because of Budgie's Kitsune Rush as the red carpet laid down. Tunnel Killer dodging and weaving. Just sort of fancy footwork to get away from Average Gamer.
Oh my god, they fell.
That much
Oh my god.
Has to get back to the point. It's the final kill, and has Max on the wrecking ball to keep the touch going. It was close, but UNCG, it won't be a shutout, point one.
Man, I thought Lee Zhang was painful. If they lost that flashpoint there, that was, it was gonna be deja vu. Yeah, Hamilton makes sure the touch continues, but now Max is stuck in a really weird spot. Near the spawn of Endicott, they're gonna just get pushed away.
Yeah, and because of these Kitsune Rush, and there's no tank to stop him, it would have been bad if Tunnel Killer didn't one-clip Average Gamer just now. So Endicott being down the DPS and the EMP online here. So far away from the team is Gnam. Yeah, no, not a sound barrier to come through again. It's close to another C9. Really stresses me out with these last pushes here, but Max will make sure that this point will remain contested for the time being. UNCG know that Endicott have a ton of resources, but they're just not opting to use them. Seeing how many players are coming back, because Endicott got the flip though, Jesse, it's not going to be all that much gain for UNCG after all.
Yeah, because of that flip, it's massive. It gives Endicott a complete full fight. They don't have to rush this at all. And again, they have the Death Blossom and the Grab. And if they need it, the Sound Barrier, they have plenty of resources available here to win the first Flashpoint. But if Tunnel Killer lands a nice Pulse Bomb here, and if the Suzu's not able to land, that could ruin that entire plan.
Well, there's a Suzu, there's a Bubble, there's a Roll, there's a Wraith. There's so many ways this Pulse Bomb could go wrong, but it's gone even worse for Visor. Graviton Surge was laid onto him. Didn't think using the Sound Barrier there was a safe idea. I agree with that decision. UNCG, they got close, but Endicott at the end of the day had the better ult management. The same story we've been telling throughout this series, and will get themselves Market to start.
Yeah, Market goes the way to Endicott, and now they will have a nice little easy rotation over to the second Flashpoint, and I believe, I haven't got to see where Greensboro is yet. That was their spawn side, so they haven't seen, yeah, they got here pretty early too. So Tunnel Killer didn't get to use that Pulse Bomb last fight. Looking for it this time around, even though both Sound Barriers still on the board.
Which is pretty shocking, considering how these fights have gone. And to be totally honest, I think UNCG's will be more of a tempo ult or just to match Yanam's based on how we've been seeing so far. Tunnel Killer, though, saw the opportunity to throw the Pulse Bomb with the Sound Barrier. It will deter him a little bit longer. We'll support ult from UNCG. But The overhealth gets away from Visor faster than Endicott, although it is a pretty scrappy fight because UNCG's comp, it's faster, it has a lot more uptime. And we're going to move straight away from this Deadeye, not too worried about getting caught out. They can easily come back in for this hacked recontest. Average Gamer, the main target. Great Suzu from Kairos to keep him on his feet. And Endicott, they got that first cap, so UNCG, they're just fighting for control.
Yeah, and they should be able to get it. Enam in a very weird spot. They're just going to rotate back to their Zarya and Reaper, and there's no guarantee even that all of them get out, but it looks like, yeah, the Spartans will back up. A nice little 20% for Endicott, but UNCG overall win the fight. And they still have this Kitsune Rush now to pair with this EMP. Going into this next fight, Gone, yes, probably looking for a Bubble Blossom, but it's going to be really tricky, especially if the rush is used early.
But gee, it's a good chunk of health taken out of her, but we'll get healed up eventually. Can't quite say the Cameroner though. Max and Tunnel Killer using their speed to their advantage, mowing down the two important targets on Endicott. Their competition is going to fall over. We won't get to see the Death Blossom just yet.
Yeah, this Death Blossom is just going to be so rough to use because everybody has such high movement as well. You almost need to solo ult somebody or like catch Hamilton in a weird spot in one of these TPs, which they actually do, and Hamilton has to fully retreat. And no, this will create a little bit of an awkward spot for the EMP.
Looking for it, lands onto 3. The pillar, not enough to protect Yunam. 2 instantly set 6 feet under. Great initiation from UNCG. It's what we've been saying. Endicott has been doing so well throughout this entire series. UNCG, they figured it out, and they're saying, have a taste of your own medicine. We're tied up, 1-1.
Yeah, this ball comp, it's getting going now once we get into these flashpoints that are a little bit more wide open. Cameroner, they kind of just get stuck. They're like, hey, we got to bubble our teammates, but there's not much else they can really do. There's no squishies typically that are even in their range for more than a second. So I wonder once this grab gets used, if there is a swap coming here for Endicott. But time will tell. This minefield probably being used early here from Max. Just defend people off the point, but Hamilton's gone.
Max might be able to get away, but yeah, not Visor. That's just going to get shredded by Gone. Swapping over to the Tracer and already having a much better time than he was on the Reaper. Endicott will get themselves the first cap of a nice grab.
Yeah, nice early grab, especially when the flashpoint takes so much longer. It's still a long time until it was going to open up. They're hunting Tunnel Killer. Tunnel Killer almost kills themselves with the pulse. And now they're just going to fully back out because the fight is starting to begin on point.
Yeah, it's a 4v3 because Yunam ended up going with Gone on that little tangent. You're down a player. It's only that Deadeye that will make sure UNCG can't stay on this point longer, even with the minefield there. A nice boop onto Yunam to make sure the Lucio's dead, but yeah, Endicott, they just had the better control over the objective. It's hard for UNCG to push.
Yeah, a little bit tricky there for them to push in, and yeah, still one fight away now for Endicott to get one flashpoint away from sweeping this series, and they still have the Kitsune Rush to use. Max just trying to fling around, see if they can find any sort of displacement, but Endicott playing pretty passive until Greensboro commits.
Endicott, at this point, is pretty solidly there. They have the better tools to work with here. It's really just up to the sound barrier that Visor has to work with. They're going to need it a little sooner than you wanted with how low Max got chipped by just face tanking the entire front line of Endicott. But it's going to pay to his advantage because he took all of those resources. Tamako and Hamilton worked their way into the back line, picked off both the supports, and the rest of the team will shortly fall with them.
Yeah, it's just Gone, left alone, and not much you can do in a 1v3. So Greensboro, they get the flip at 99%, but still a very long ways to go if they want to gain Flashpoint 3. And yes, they have their Kitsune Rush. You know, it didn't necessarily work out that great for Endicott last time. They got ran on by Beat. And now the opposite could happen, right? Enam has the beat of their own, and they can just run over Premier and run over Greensboro when this Kitsune Rush is used.
Tunnel Killer scares me sometimes, but then he does cool things like this, where he links up with the Sombra and takes out God. That's what I want to see. It's sketchy until it's not. UNCG, they just think further ahead than we can see. That is a clean fight win, only needing the Kitsune Rush.
And Enam, he has to live here. Like, he just has to. Suzu used a beautiful stick!
Perfect. And that's going to guarantee that the Kiriko's not there for the final fight either. UNCG should just get that point, maybe? It might be a
Well,
touch.
I don't know. They could speed in. If Gone is able to get a quick touch, then they should be able to get in, but Max is going to make that as difficult as possible.
The Suzu's already out too, so Endicott, not a super happy team at the immediate moment, did manage to flip the map, you know, so I care. That was Ajax territory, but thankfully he'll hit the ground, and so will the backline of UNCG. The EMP was canceled. Hamilton never had the opportunity to pull it out.
What?
Endicott, we're gonna use that for advantage. Average gamer just walked into a minefield. UNCG, are they gonna win this just because of that? There's no way. Endicott, they had everything going their favor. A great touch, a great use of the sound barrier just for the cast to waddle into a mine. Oh no, UNCG. They're gonna get themselves to the point. One more, and they get their map.
Whoops. That's a little bit of a whoops. I will say earlier in that fight, they don't have the Suzu because of the fact the beat lands late. Because of the fact that Inami got in that Ajax territory, they get lifted so far up. If they used it on normal ground, they would have landed before Kairos died, but because they get lifted up, the Kiriko dies, no Suzu for the cast, and no Deadeye, and that means lost Flashpoint.
Endicott, though, they're in a much better position on this point. Cameroon on the Junker Queen can do more, but you're a ton more vulnerable, as we just saw. Hamilton, Tunnel Killer, they're just gonna swarm around you like these little bees that we've been seeing. And it's such a problem. No, Max! Right back with the pulse bomb into Visor. What in the world are these fights? USNG, they had it, but a nice stick from Gone, and it's just over.
Yeah, that pulse bomb is just the icing on the cake for Endicott, which, man, these fights are just a little chaotic, and I get it. We got, like, the epitome of a chaos comp here for Greensboro, but, man, that was a little all over the place, and now Gone. They're out for blood. They're trying to look for more, but Tunnel Killer is maybe not the tracer you want to go after right now.
I think he's been got one too many times by either Hamilton or Visor appearing out of nowhere. So that makes sense. EMP is out. It was solo onto Camerooner and it was instantly cleansed. So that ultimate might as well have not existed in the first place for UNCG. Average Gamer is back on the high ground, just kind of vibing up here. Peels Visor off of the wall, and UNCG Premier, you just go away. You're not going to win that fight.
Yep.
Save your ults for one final touch.
Yeah, gotta make sure you die early enough where you're not like at an absolute race to get over the point, but still going to be a little bit awkward, especially because Tunnel Killer has been caught, but it looks like for now they're going to be safe, but out of the fight.
Yeah, and again, he did manage to pull two players away towards him, which can help, at least in entering the fight. The sound barrier, great timing. The hack, Average Gamer, yeah, it kind of goes in and makes sure the Deadeye won't get the final shot up in the minefield again. Everybody just drops on into it. Fantastic play out of Max. Area denied, and Zoe's the final point capture. UNCG want to take it here.
That was great coordination. Like, you throw the pulse bomb, they're going to back up, boop into the minefield, gets lifted up. Like, that was, well, great, it is holy CC, but also, like, a beautiful combination. My one worry is, Molly, they used everything. Like, they used everything at their disposal, and now there could be the counterpunch from Endicott.
Well, unless that's a great bit of initiation there, but a 2-for-1, not great. Not what UNCG. We're looking for the Rampage, less than ideal. It lands on a Hamilton, though, but who didn't have a translocator to get away. So Endicott actually managed to make that work, thanks to the help of Cameroon. Max is here, stalling out a bit of time, and actually could buy some space for Thunder Killer to come on back. I believe I hear Visor working around the corner as well. I just don't know for UNCG it's a good idea to commit, and you're really just not going to be able to. Endicott will shut that down almost instantaneously and will push us to the 5th flashpoint.
Yeah, going to the final flashpoint here in map 3 to decide if we're going to take this series any further. And Greensboro hoping that will be the case, but again, no real ultimates early on to really make that a reality. As Endicott, they have the beat advantage, and they will have the rush advantage. Budgie, she's only halfway to her, so Endicott, they'll just split over, up by a point, and try not to give this Tracer a free 1v1.
Yeah, great pile drive. They'll get the Suzu out early, but Hamilton caught out by Camerooner, who's been really good at just running at these backline targets when they are least mobile, which is hard to do with the UNCG's Premier's comp. With the one pick, we'll go ahead and do it. No shiny buttons, just a cap.
Yeah, and that's maybe the scariest thing. No shiny buttons needed that time around, but at least for Greensboro, you're starting to get one of your own, but they're starting to really find it difficult to really get any of these players in an isolated spot.
Well, the minefield will definitely help with that. It actually completely zones Cameroon away from the rest of the team, left up to the virus for his own demise in UNCG. And that's all they're going to end up needing from what it looks like, and based on the numbers. Decent amount of stall, though, to get about half the point for Endicott.
Yeah, half the point for, and honestly for Greensboro. You save EMP, you save the pulse bomb. It's not too bad of a fight, because you know Max is going to build another minefield probably by the end of this map. You can see they're playing extremely aggressive. They do not want Endicott to have any sort of set play.
No, and this is where Endicott were able to win their last point, is by initiating first. The EMP, it's solid, but with the Suzu from Kairos is even better, and nobody actually gets the lasting effects of it. Average Gamer, look at this guy, he's stupid. Visor saw his life flash before his eyes, trying to get out, but that silver bullet takes damage. Oh, he'll stay alive with like 2 HP to spare. But Endicott, they got themselves towards the objective. In fact, they capped it before any eliminations came through, as of course after Visor Daddy and Tunnel Killer were taken care of. So Endicott, they're looking to keep that control as long as they can, because UNCG, they don't have a ton of resources to work with, Jesse.
No, they really don't. They'll have the sound barrier to initiate, but Endicott have one to answer. So it's really going to be trying to take every single advantage possible and trying to find that first pick using this beat. But you cannot let Max die early.
He'll live, but not with a ton of health. This isn't going to be a very long touch unless these sound barriers come into play. Both used instantaneously, but Camerooner, this is his chance to strike. Finds Budging hot off guard, and there's the Rampage, which is the nail in the coffin for UNCG. Endicott keeping up their undefeated run and will find themselves in the Division 3 East Finals.
Yeah, Greensboro, they give up a good fight, but Endicott, they will continue their undefeated run. Now 9-0 here on the season. They will book their spot in the grand final here for Division 3 East Division. And overall, just fantastic across the board. And the other semifinal we're waiting on, New Haven up 1-0. So maybe a little bit of a rematch here in the final. But no, a fantastic performance across the board here. And honestly, Endicott, they had maybe a few moments here and there where this chaos comp, yeah, it kind of frustrated them. They got a little bit lost. But overall, their coordination and ult cycles were just perfect.
This team, at a macro perspective, is one of the best that you're going to find in Division 3 after watching this game. We've casted quite a bit in Division 3 this season, too. It was really impressive to see the discipline that this team has, and they're committing all together. It's either we do great things all together or we die all together. Like, that is the kind of unity that we're seeing from this team, and at its core, it's going to elevate your gameplay so much. It's great if you have individual carries, but when you're able to unite on the level that we're seeing from Endicott, it's going to get you places. And in this instance, it will be those Division 3 East Grand Finals.
Yeah, overall, just again, a fantastic season. And hey, they'll be looking to cap it off once we get out of the Thanksgiving break. For Greensboro, top 4, maybe not exactly what you were looking for, but honestly, still a semester they can really build on now as we get ready for the spring and they can enjoy their holiday break. But yeah, Endicott, we got a little bit of time now. They'll get to sit back, watch OWCS Stockholm, maybe get a few more strats going. But overall, this team, super scary for whoever they play in that final.
Yeah, and they're sticking to their guns for the time being, too. It was very rare that we saw a team swap, and because they're undefeated, that is a final that I'm going to be keeping an eyeball on, even if it isn't on our main broadcast. I'm at least going to, bare minimum, going to be checking the result or the individual schools' broadcast pages, because that'll be a good one for Scherzies.
Oh, yeah, and before we, we're having a little bit of a break here before we get to our Division 9 showcase, which, if you can't tell, we're excited about it here.
It's going to be great.
In the booth. We got to thank one of our sponsors here. Quick by Blue Light Gamers. Your eyes take a beating out there, and, sometimes you need a little bit of help. By Blue Light has you covered. Their premium blue light glasses help you keep your sharp, focused, and ready for victory without the eye strain that comes with looking at a screen all the time. Level up your game and protect your vision. Check them out, By Blue Light today, the official eye care partner of NECC at buybluelight.com. And honestly, for us, I've honestly considered buying it a lot because, we're here. We're doing this a lot, talking to a screen. It can get a little bit harsh on the eyes, so make sure to check them out.
It is, and we both already wear glasses, so I mean,
Yeah, you might as well
not
at that point.
not a bad change there. So we could all use to protect our vision looking at a computer and playing some games, or in our case, yapping about some games. We are going to go ahead and give our voices a rest and give a little bit of time for our next match to be set and ready. It'll be ready at approximately 10 p.m. EST, and on the West Coast, that'll be 7 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll see you in a little under an hour for our Division 9 semifinal.
I wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain, but I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain, and lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe her, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down. I don't know if I want to. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to.
All I seek to find seek to fight is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Follow the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me.
I'm trying to get to you. Yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, cause I gotta get to you. I would climb 1,000 mountains, swim across the darkest ocean, cause I'm trying to get to you. Yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, cause I gotta get to you. I gotta get to you.
I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst. I used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb but first. But I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst. You were the calm to my storm. You could take the wind, and though the winters were calm, weighing on our shoulders, at least the ice could never break us in. You were my horizon that I didn't see at first. You were my horizon, and the breeze is just what I deserve. You were my horizon that I didn't see at first. You were my horizon, and the breeze is just what I deserve. I used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb but first. But I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the
frozen over like I am. Well, I know you know that life gets colder, colder when I'm older, older than I am. And I know you know that I have lost composure, but I'll hold you closer while I can. I never told you that I'm slightly broken, that I might lose focus when I am. I know you know that life gets colder, colder when you're frozen over like I am.
our second semifinals night of the match. Oh my gosh, we were off to a rough start. Second semifinals of the match. Of the night match, there we go, is on the way. It is Division 9, Jesse, and this is the first time for us that we get to have it on broadcast, and it's gonna be a treat, because, you know, we kind of talked about this earlier, about getting to showcase a lot of these lower divisions that are meant to be developmental. Division 9 is, like, where a lot of, like, this baseline that we see for the people that are just starting to get into esports.
Yeah, this is the first time I think I've done Division 9. And hey, we're going to have some fun tonight. Like, this is going to be, you know, we have like this meta right now. Throw it out the window. Like, we're probably not playing it tonight. It's going to be just comfort. And we'll see how these teams do. It'll be University of Evansville Aces going up against the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. So, yeah, two teams here in the Midwest. One team a little bit, I'd say, closer-ish to you, but still kind of south. It's closer than me.
I was gonna say, northern Wisconsin's up there, and like,
yeah,
that's up there. It's cold up there, I would imagine. So hopefully it's not.
It's not bad right now. Actually,
not too bad.
It's been like mid to high 40s.
Okay, that's actually not too bad. It's about the same.
Next week it's gonna be like 25.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. That's a next week problem. You know why it is?
Yeah.
It's so cold because we won't have collegiate Overwatch to.
True.
It's really sad, but and for our semifinals match that we have. Our two teams, single elim as before, still a best of 5. So one team will move on to the grand finals to play against MTSU Bolt, and then the loser will actually have a chance to participate in our third place match against the Redbird Resurrectors. That will be after a short break for a holiday there. And then we'll be right back for both of those matches shortly after. And just we had a chance to look at these teams' records a tad bit, see where we've been, and it seems like for the most part, the Aces have the upper hand.
Yeah, the Aces are the favorite going into this game. They have yet to drop a series during this season. They already got off to a great start here in the playoff. They sweep Carthage, and not sweep Carthage, I think it was 3-1.
Yes.
I think it
3-1.
And Carthage swept Stevens Point. So if you go like the common denominator here, yes, it's definitely leaning into the favor here of the Aces. But you never know. Things can change in a heartbeat here as we look at these rosters.
Yeah, and when we see what these teams have to offer, I think the most important thing to keep in mind for these matches is, like, with Division 9 as a whole, it's very much you're getting your feet wet with what esports is and the chance to do it at a collegiate level. Like, it's very rare that at all, like in general, to ever see a collegiate player make it to a professional level. Most of the players are here to have fun because it's a great activity to be a part of a team. You might get a scholarship for it or some other type of compensation, or you just get to hang out with some really great people. Like, it's just fantastic to see. And by the way, I do love both of the purple that these teams are rocking.
Yeah.
Purple is my personal favorite color, so I really like. I can't choose. Like, it's like a royal purple and then like more of a plum, I guess. Maybe not a plum. I like it.
I don't want to say like a grape.
It's got a bow tie.
But like, yeah,
The
I love
got
the
a
bow tie.
It is very nice. It's like decorative. Decorative? That's how you say that.
Yeah.
It's okay. My brain's already.
It's been one of those kind of nights.
It has been.
For reference, our brains are kind of melted. We played a game with our production staff during the break. Did not go well.
What do you mean? We won our game. Okay, the first game. We got cooked.
No, the first game we got cooked on circuit. Second game went better. So our brains are a little,
okay.
all over
I
the
guarantee as soon as we see this match start, like, the players are totally going to fix that, and we're probably going to learn something from that, honestly, based on how our games went. So they'll show us how it's done. I am certain of that. We'll be the first map pick, I believe, going over to the Aces, since they are number 1 seed, or maybe not the number 1 seed, but the number 2 seed, technically.
Number 2, yeah.
MTSU, who awaits in the grand finals, was that number 1. So they will get that first pick. And we'll see where to go from there. And if you're the Aces, honestly, Jesse, losing only 1 map this entire season so far, I have a feeling they're going to be pretty comfortable in anything.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to guess. I'm going to throw it out there. I genuinely have not seen the map. Go ahead and Legion Tower. Is the guess. We're going back to the collegiate roots, but we'll see what they go. But like you said, they've dropped 1 map the entire season, and that was last week to Carthage. So it's not, yes, it was recent. You don't want to make that a habit, kind of dropping maps here and there. Oh, okay. Well, I was corrected. Okay.
I want to refund that little bet you made right there. If only
What,
that's.
what do you want? A cookie? Like
I
don't...
would love a cookie with salt on it. We had this conversation before broadcast. Cookie, a little bit of salt. Don't hate on it until you try it. Like, it's just a tiny bit. Tiny bit of table salt. But, we don't need to add any more seasoning to Ilios. Because this is on it. Like, this is the dive map of our... This is the dive map of our control pool. Will we actually see dive? I think that is up for debate. I think there are other compositions that can work here. Especially, like, your Orissas of the world, Junker Queens, if you want to make them go fast, you can turn it into more of a poke. It's just that you kind of see, you would prefer to have some of these more faster characters on your side.
Yeah, if you're going to run this kind of rush poke style, it's going to be on a ruins, right? It's a very long map. That point is very wide open. The dive can be a little tricky. We've seen it work with, like, ball comps and diva comps especially. But it can be, a little more tricky. So yeah, I do think dive probably, especially on well. Lighthouse, you can decide to bunker down on point, but there's so many different angles to where you can get poked out at. It can get a little bit tricky, and usually, after a fight or two, you swap off of it anyway. But we'll see what these teams want to go. Again, it's Division 9, people. Like, again, throw all the expectations of what compositions and heroes you think you're going to see out the window, other than Vendetta. Obviously not in the game yet, but... It looks incredible. She looks incredibly fun. Yeah. I will say. We were talking about it in the green room beforehand. It's going to be a hero we think that is either going to be fantastic or it's probably going to need one of those mid-season buffs very quickly.
Or mid-season
I don't feel like it's going to be in between.
Yeah, it's very hard to balance melee characters like that, so it's a wait-and-see moment for the next season that starts. But on that topic, though, that's kind of the best thing about Division 9, is that you can play pretty much anything that suits your comforts, and we don't know what's going to happen. You get to just kind of fly by the edge of your seat here and follow what these teams have been able to cook up. They've had the opportunities to figure out what works best for their specific players instead of what might work better on a specific map or what the pro top 0.001% are playing. Like that doesn't matter. And for most people, that really shouldn't matter unless you are at that pro level. So seeing how these teams will get creative, focusing a lot on countering, I think is going to be a big thing, as well as comfort. Finding the balance between those two is how we're going to see these team compositions play out. And then, of course, identifying what is your win condition within that composition that you set.
Yeah, obviously trying to find that win con. Right now, there's so many counters in the game as well, especially, again, we're probably not running meta in this rank, so it's like, oh, what are we comfortable enough on to counter this? And sometimes it's a little bit unconventional. Obviously, we're not going to see like a diva countering a Zarya, but we can get a little bit freaky in what we're doing here here in these counters. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very curious to see. And obviously, Steven's point, I won't lie. I don't want to say I'm not biased, but they're like, what, an hour and a half west of where I am currently.
That sounds like proximity
they're
bias.
not. Hey, no, but I like Evansville. I almost worked in Evansville. Almost lived in Evansville. So no, Evansville's a great city. But
so, you're biased for both teams.
Yes. So that means inherently I'm biased for none.
Love the
double negative equals a positive, everybody.
Yeah, hey, I do love to see that. Well, despite talking about a little bit more typical on what we've been seeing on the map pool side, these are actually more typical bans that we do tend to see. The Malga being taken away, a very heavy brawl presence, and an overall, I don't want my tank counterpart to have fun kind of pick, so it really makes sense to have that one just out of the picture in general. And then Kiriko to respond to it. One of the most picked supports, I think, across all ranks. Yeah. Very strong, no matter where you can put her. So if the Kiriko finds herself in good hands, could be pretty scary. So it does make sense to see that one go away as well.
Yeah, the Kiri's just everywhere right now. And whether it be, cleansing, whether it be burns or antis or whatever it may be, or just getting your DPS out of tricky spots, the Kiriko has just been fantastic for, years at this point. I don't know if there's been a time when she's been bad. Like, it's kind of crazy how her arc has just been like, oh, she's great, and then she's not bad, but still I'm going the wrong way on camp. And then she's been just good the entire rest of the way. So, yeah, not a bad band here from the Pointers. But we're getting ready to go in here for this map 1, which, again, this is going to be pure content. Like, if we saw some of you guys in chat. We saw some of you guys lurking during the end of that last game. against UC, NG, and Endicott. Which, by the way, again, congrats to Endicott making the final.
Yeah.
For Division 3 East. Yeah, but this is what you came for. Like, this is the
Oh, yeah.
level of content. Not this, polished, we're going to be the minute things is not what we're talking about here. We're
Well,
just
the
having
big
fun.
picture. Oh yeah,
This is going to take us back to our roots.
it is. I mean, this might be our roots, like currently. This might be our current standing. I don't know if that's is it roots if it's where you currently are? I don't know. One thing though, I do kind of want to see. I want to see some auto play with the Kiriko being banned.
Yeah.
Like, that could be kind of crazy. And it is
Yeah.
Helios. It is and that's also another very strong pick. I love my support player highlights. They don't get enough love, Jesse. So we gotta give it to them where it's at,
Yeah.
especially when they ban the hero that can make their life unfun sometimes.
True. That's very true. I thought you were going to say Venture, because, like,
I would also love to see some
you
of
are
that.
the
but there
resident
are s-
Venture player.
There are so few Venture players out there, man. They
Oh,
just don't
yeah.
exist. They're like in hiding because I don't know. They gotta. There'll be more. Trust me. We will
I say,
convert
we
more
have
to the
you,
ways of
we have
Venture.
Jeremy 87, and I don't. Those are the only two I know off the top of my head.
You named me and the
Uh,
CEO of Venture themselves.
yeah.
So that's a bit of a jump there.
Oh god, we are in here, and it's actually is going to be ruined. So this is the one
Ooh,
that
okay.
maybe that dive isn't going to be fantastic, depending on how this all plays out. So we'll see as both these teams at least get a feel of what they're wanting to run.
Yeah, so this is kind of those honors that we were talking about. At least she's gonna pick that one up, at least for now. And Halo Knight considering it too. The Schmungus Orisa, that's a fun name. I'm so gonna have fun with that. On Aces here, that's more I think what we were expecting to see on this particular map. It's gonna be emphasis on this type of range, except for one's gonna be poking. Oh, never mind, we're not poking at all. We are full sending it into their backline. That's a Schmungus Doomfist with a Lizard Hazard on the other end.
Okay, so speaking of comps we're not used to seeing, the Doomfist has entered the chat, and Blair already hit with a nice little explosive shot there from Simply Talk, and that'll force the Widow to kind of chill, but it's going to be most players kind of going to that left corridor, and that Mabel is going to make things a little dicey for the Doom.
Yeah, poor Schmungus didn't really have anywhere to go with his back up against a wall, but Blair having a much better time. It is a 2-for-1, currently trading Stephen's point, so it'll be his first cap UWSP.
Yeah, you do Steven's point. Getting that first cap, and already some swaps coming in. Schmungus on the Roadhogs. Hey, if you got a bingo card, by the way, this is a fantastic game for one of those bingo cards. Check off the Roadhog, and they're going to try and deal with Lizard here, but the nade misses.
Yeah, the nade doesn't quite connect.
Or never, the
but...
nade to sleep.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the different thing there. Simply Talk though does in fact land his own shots on Blair. So the Widowmaker, the range threat is gone, and Get Loose, how low his health bar is. Ace is looking for a way out. The Maywalt made it hard. Eventually that sleep will land onto Lizard, but she's okay for the time being. The hack not enough to whittle away the support Halo Knight and Magic Magic.
Yeah, nice little fight there. It kind of, as long as you can force the Roadhog to not get early pickoff value with this hook,
Well-
like that, then you're fine. But that is not ideal.
I was gonna say that might be a bit of a caster curse.
Yeah,
on the
a little
end there,
bit.
but it is a 1-for-1 second. That's a great hook though from Schmungus. I'm a little surprised to see him getting that much value on this pick, considering there's an Ana and no Kiriko. But so far, it's been working out. There's a third hook now. Hook, line, and sinker for this guy. Aces Esports look at themselves on the point, but not without losing a chunk.
Yeah, no, at least a decent chunk here for Stevens Point. I just realized the number they capped at.
Oh,
Chat,
come on, give the people what they want, Jesse.
they capped at 6-7 for
Yeah.
67%. I hated every second of that.
You know what? I perfectly enjoyed it. Just like the Aces, we're going to
Oh,
enjoy this
Lord.
next fight. The early hook in onto Lizard. She loses almost all of her health, but is able to stay alive. With the downpour returning to the other side, everyone moves away from Schmungus' hook as Lizard leaps into the back. We'll take out Zack with the help of Magic Man with the nanoed whole hog. This is what we were kind of worried about for Stevens Point, but everyone is so far away, and Simply Talk is still landing onto these bolt shots, but he just can't stop Hollow Knight from falling off the map. Very scrappy, but Simply Talk is putting in so much work on this Freya. It might just not matter in the end, even with a nice hook from Schmungus.
Yeah, Schmungus, yeah, you get the elimination, but no, it shouldn't be enough. It'll just be a little bit extra percent here for the aces, but it will go back to the pointers eventually. And yeah, this is just all over the place. You got the DPS going at it, long range, Blair and Get Loose versus Simply Talk, and then you got Schmungus kind of just walking up, trying to deal with Gaming Lily and Lizard in the supports, kind of just battling for their lives, honestly. And Get Loose is able to find the first one that time.
Yeah, that's a rough one for UWSP to lose first. The majority of the healing now gone. And Zach helping goes full steam ahead now for the aces. Tidal Blast won't connect onto anybody. Stevens Point able to retreat, but Blair is caught out. Simply Talk put up flank from him. Wraps completely around the other side of the map. Zach can't get away, was injured and caught on the back of Schmungus there. Simply Talk put in so much work for this fight and actually is going to turn it around almost completely. Triple kill now for him. And with only this poor Hanzo and Get Loose attempting to climb over a cactus, that will be an UWSP round 1 win.
Yeah, Stevens Point, the underdogs, going into this one, able to find the first round here on Ilios. So maybe not the direction we thought this was going to go, but let's see here once we get to dive. If anything else changes, Schmungus does have 8 eliminations. Great time. I'd say it's been the tanks. Look at this. 12 for Lizard, 8 for Schmungus.
Yeah.
Leading both of their teams in eliminations. Simply Talk is still doing a good job, though, at 9-2. But let's see here some of those changes. We may get to see more of that Ana that we were talking about earlier with Elise. Well, Elise debating it. Might just be using that hyper ring to get out of spawn. And honestly, so far, Halo Knight been doing a great job just trying to keep Schmungus at bay with those sleeps and those bios. Yes, it's not always leading to eliminations, but it's leading to at least a little bit of pause.
It slows down the pace of play, and you're really going to need that here. Schmungus, being a Roadhog on well, pretty happy camper right about now. Will be looking to drop as many people down there as possible. It'll be Stevens Point getting over to that cage section first, and Schmungus has to push into them. Good sleep from Halo Knight. Denies a lot of that earlier follow-up that we would have seen, and in the meantime, Blizzard grabs her on the back, grabs Get Loose, who didn't rotate with the rest of the team to contest in the side area of the objective. So 5v4 now, favoring Stevens Point, and Blizzard looking to add another to that list. That's pressure onto Blair and Zach. A max range hook from Simply Talk will help even that up, but Blizzard had gotten way too much done. So by the time Schmungus ends up in the pit himself, courtesy of Magic Man, this one's all said and done.
Yeah, you could tell. I wonder if Schmungus was like trying to take one with them on their way out, but yeah, it just didn't work out that time. And Aces, yeah, they've kind of been stopped. This Hazard gameplay from Blizzard has been fantastic. She's just been all over the place, trying to keep the Aces squishies at bay. Been doing a great job with the Cactus as well to isolate Blair and Get Loose. So far, this Hazard been really dominating here.
Hazard a very strong pick. It's difficult to burst down. You have a ton of mobility, and even with the slight nerf to his block where you can now take a headshot him, it just doesn't matter. Like, look at that there. Fantastic throw of the jagged wall. Grabs the finishing blow onto Blair. And even though it's a 4v4, you're really not that worried about it. The downpour is available. That's going to latch on to at least 2 members of the Aces. There's only one that actually ends up dying, and it didn't get loose. It's not a great situation since both supports are ripped out from under Stevens Point, courtesy of Schmungus. So Lizard trying to rally the troops, bring them all back, and he'll do so, or she'll do so with 35 HP to spare.
Yeah, no, Lizard trying to poke again. She doesn't have much health, and now that Halo Knight is back, Blair will have to back up, and just all over the place. But now Blair stuck in a very awkward spot here, Molly.
The legs! The legs! Oh, Blair almost made it, ran the half marathon. Couldn't quite get to the finish line, though. UWSP feeling pretty good about their chances here. Dragon Strike, yeah, it catches Magic Man off guard and is face to face with Schmungus once more, but the Nano put into Lizard. She's getting everything done when she has the tools. Look at this, a triple kill with the help of Halo Knight's Nano. That's all it's gonna take. Give her everything at this point. UWSP, they just want to close out Ilios 2-0 and give us one heck of a story for the first section of our series. Blizzard not even needed, just a little bit of treat to top this one off. It's Stevens Point, map 1.
Stevens Point stunned the Aces, giving them only their 2nd map loss of the entire season to start us off here on Ilios, and a lot of it is because of Lizard right here. She's been all over the battlefield during this first map, and it's a massive reason why it went well. I love it. Even I play the game when she gets slept for half of it, still finds a nice cheeky 4K. Like, that's unbelievable there from the Has, and all of a sudden we go from, hey, the Aces are probably the favorite going into this, to now, hey, Stevens Point, they're showing that they definitely have a chance here to pull the upset and make that final.
And I do have a bit of context to add to that. The website for NECC that shows the records was not updated for that particular match. It was, in fact, a forfeit loss. So it was not a game that ended up being played. So this is, on paper now, looking a lot better than what we initially intended. Yeah. So our bad on that part. We thank you, chat, for providing that little update for us. So that makes a lot more sense on the direction that we saw that game go in particular. But Lizard on this Hazard so far, she's playing a game entirely of her own and has fantastic support behind her to keep up with the plays that she's been pulling.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. The coordination so far from Stevens Point. And now you wonder, I'm guessing that Hazard's probably getting banned. Depending on what map we go to here for the second map of the night, yeah, I have a feeling that Haz will be the ban. And the question is, what is the other side? Because, yeah, that Hazard giving just all sorts of issues here for Evansville. Never really found the answer. The Roadhog, in theory, isn't honestly that bad of a counter. If you can try and pull the Hazard in, lay in the bio, and like you said, that Nerf came in. God, English is hard sometimes. To where during that spike guard, they can now take those critical hits, which I will say felt necessary. Hazard just lived during the previous patch. But still, well, Lizard, she'd still be able to live perfectly fine. Like you said, a lot of that support is still coming through. But they haven't found, Evansville hasn't found those combos to really eliminate the Hazard that allow the rest of their team to push in without having to look, left to right to make sure they're not getting dashed and slashed by the Hazard.
Yeah, the Hazard, I think, was a big thing, but also Halo Knight's Ana. If you needed somebody to step up in a schmungus Roadhog world, that's exactly the player to be landing these bio-nades, these sleeps, and also just had the nanos on time when it was needed, dumped it into Lizard, and you can expect her to get the work done. At least had a lot of strong moments, too, when she did have the opportunity, but it was really hard with how quickly Lizard was able to get to the backline and just ignore schmungus entirely for a good chunk of that map. So I am seeing a bit more logic in the Malga ban after seeing the Doomfist Roadhog picks that we did there from the Aces. So now that will be back into consideration, is it going to be perhaps either a Hazard or an Ana target going ahead?
Ooh, true. Yeah, I could see, especially if... I'm trying to think here. Well, obviously, Evansville want to ban the Hazard. So they won't be able to really ban out the Ana to try and protect the Roadhog. So I have a feeling maybe that Ana ban is maybe a map 3 or 4, depending on how this series works out. Because obviously, if this Roadhog continues to be played, Stevens Point are not going to ban the Ana, right? That's one of the big things to really counter that out. So that might be something later on. I wonder if for Evansville, do you just ban the Hog anyways, knowing that you can't? Obviously, no, you can't though if they ban Hazard. And again, these bans, it gets you going here. It's honestly its own little Wordle, right? I'm trying to figure out what the exact combination is supposed to be. And I will say, taking their time here, as I think we maybe actually have some subs.
Okay. Yeah, One Hickory will be coming in for support on the side of the Aces instead of Zach for our next game. I believe was playing the Wuyong for a good chunk of the map number 1 there. So with that swap coming in, potentially maybe just more of a specialist in a specific support. I think it will depend on what map it is, because the order you have to declare these in, I think, is map pick and then roster lock and then bans, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm pretty sure the map pick is determined after the roster, because you want to make those subs.
I thought it was roster, map bans, map pick.
Something along those lines. But either way, with that coming, typically when you see a support sub, it's because you want to play a specific strat, and you have somebody that has a really good something in their back pocket. Kiriko is unbanned now, so it could be that. Lucio is something that we didn't really get to see either on the side of the Aces either. Oh, well, for a short bit.
For a little bit.
A little bit, not a ton. So maybe that, maybe a Brig. Ana, at least already played it. Which, every time I see a support sub, I usually think Ana. I think it's in the OG days of the SF Shock where Violet could absolutely not play Ana, so he would always be taken out. And it was one of the few times we saw support subs. So I was maybe something like that, but probably not. We do have map pick in, if I wasn't baited. There we go. Saravasa, we are now get one of our collegiate special maps for at least the first part of our series today.
Yeah, that section for Ana as well. Like Ryu Jaehong is sitting there like, come on, come on, let the old man play some Ana. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But no, Suravasa, again, going to be keeping up the pace. The Roadhog, probably not the play here, but they might be going with the Doom. The Doom can get some value here,
Yeah.
especially in this first flashpoint. A lot of enclosed spaces to where those punches can hit those walls. So that might be the play here for the Aces, but we'll see as well what they decide to ban here for the first one. But I have a feeling Hazard's not fantastic here on Suravasa. It can get exploited a little bit, but it's still a good pick. And so again, we're in Division 9. So again, like a lot of these, like, oh, what's a good, what's a bad pick? It's all up for comfort and reality for these teams on what they're really comfortable playing. I have a feeling I wouldn't be surprised if Evans were like, you know, Lizard, she just can't. We can't allow her to keep doing this. Like, this got to change.
It's a little bit easier to get caught out on the Hazard, I will say. It's not a bad pick, but it's not nearly as good as it was on Ilios, that's for certain. I am more interested on what we're going to see, especially in the tank department for the Aces, because the Hazard is going to be banned, confirmed, so that's no longer going to be an issue. But Shmungus has shown us the hero pool for somebody named Shmungus that I have absolutely expected. Roadhog Doomfist so far. And I mean that in a very nice way. I hear the name Shmungus. That just sounds like a Doomfist Roadhog player name. And nothing wrong with that. You're just fitting the profile, buddy. And it did work out part of the time. Did get a decent amount of value on the Roadhog. But I just don't feel like that is going to be as good here on Suravasa since these sight lines and just lanes are much more open.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on kind of which direction they want to go to. I think the Doom's probably more likely than the Hog. I felt like the Hog was more of a counter and a pivot to the Hazard pick more than anything else. But let's see here what each team are thinking of as we head into Suravasa. Obviously, Stevens Point. We'll have to have some sort of swap due to the fact that the Hazard is gone. Well, I don't know if the Aces are going to be giant fans of that, depending on if this is what both teams stick to.
Yeah, this is, Melga shows up and says, let's burn it all down, and it's just a dumpster fire in the sights of Shmungus as Orisa, so. Having, like, a Reaper and a Soldier 76, it's great burst if Get Loose and Blair can play their angles correctly. But again, I do still worry Halo Knight on this Ana isn't going to make anything easier, especially since no one is on the Kiriko. They're playing to play fast, and they're playing to, oh, never mind. They're not playing fast. We're playing for nades, we're getting brawly, or in the case of the Aces, we're getting pokey.
And honestly, the Ana is going to be clutch because once they see that's the Maga, they may need it. Just any sort of way to stop that Maga from just absolutely burning Shmungus.
Yeah, you can already tell Shmungus is backpedaling as soon as they hear the early cardiac overdrive come out. It's a nice sleep on a Lizard. There's no Bio-Nade, unfortunately, to follow it up. And because of the Mei wall already being out, Gaming Lily, they're not in the best spot. Wraparound from Blizzard attempting to change that, but great Bio-Nade. That's the reaction we wanted to see from Release. It's a 1-for-1, but you kind of take that if you're the Aces. As long as you can keep your Ana up and heal Shmungus, this is a fight that you can flip around pretty fast. It's the Aces doing what they can here to close this out as fast as possible, eventually catch the pesky Freya and get their flip.
Yeah, slow and steady, almost just continuing trying to bait out Lizard, get them in these awkward spots, and eventually the punish is there for the Aces. But now, almost the Nano. The one downside of, you know, your Orisa, pounding the Orisa so much, as Stevens Point is, you're just giving so much ult charge to Elise. And now she has that Nano where she can either give it to Shmungus to keep them in this fight, or even give it to Blair on one of these flanks.
You have a couple options that you can do for this. I mean, most of what we see, I would imagine it goes into, like, probably the Orisa or maybe the Reaper, but
yeah.
The sleep going a bit wide. Might need that for Shmungus sooner rather than later. Instead, gonna opt to just drop the Terror Surge, sending UWSP reeling, and Halo Knight can't get out, sent to an early grave, stapling Gaming Lily to the wall shortly after. This Orisa is getting a lot more value than you would expect into Amalga.
Yeah, more value than it arguably should. But I don't think Evansville are going to complain about that whatsoever. As due to how long that fight went, and there's not really a quick character here for Stevens Point, other than the Lucio. This might be Flashpoint 1 done, and it will be. The Pointers give it up. The Aces win the first Flashpoint, but the one advantage here for Stevens Point, I think, given the rotations here, yeah, they are in a great spot, at least for Gardens.
You get all of this little high ground area. It is UWSP that has to make the Aces walk into the open, which is not something you want to do in at this comp. Do have about 5 shiny buttons-ish in the next 10 seconds that they can push with the cage fight. Drop first, putting Schmungus and Elise in the timeout corner, who are shortly disposed of. Schmungus will get out with a decent amount of HP, but that's before Lizard decides to whip right back around and turn on them so fast before you can blink. And AC Sports never had an opportunity to use their ultimates. Lizard initiating with that cage fight, won the fight early.
Yeah, one early, especially the fact they take out the Ana. Poor Kit Loose just gets absolutely trampled near the end. But as soon as the Ana's gone, a lot of that utility that's kind of been keeping the Hazard at bay, not the Hazard, the Maga at bay, goes away. And that just allows the Lizard to go in with no care in the world. But going to the next fight, you gotta get loose with this Death Blossom. Honestly, it might just be used to chunk down Lizard more than anything else, but the Pointers, they got both support ults to try and answer whatever the Aces throw at them.
Yeah, the support ults are going to be the name of the game here for Steven's Point. And Get Loose already so low, actually going to end up eating an icicle from Gaming Lily on the far end. Never got healed up, and Lizard, she's just going to go on in, totally ready to have this nano boost at the back, but I believe it actually ended up going on to the Boostio of all things. And Magic Man, we get 2 and a 2K for Magic Man. You'll love to see it in Division 9. Will eventually pay for his crimes, but you don't love to see it. Steven's Point, they should just get the objective off of that. Aces don't have a good touch.
Well, Aces should have something, but it's going to be a little tricky. Oh my god, the ice block! Screwed Lizard, no!
But Lizard's okay. It was funny to look at, but it gave the Aces the setup they were looking for. 4 ultimates dumped onto the point. That is way too much Storm for Steven's Point to weather. Aces, they'll get the flip.
Yeah, I bet the cop was like, hey, well, like, yo, like, we get on ice block. What are you doing? It's just, I'm just, like, Gaming Lily, of course, like, they're just trying to live, right? Like, they're just trying, hey, I want to live. I want to try and be a factor in this fight. Use this Blizzard. Isn't able to near the end, but still, Sound Barrier, Blizzard, potentially, you know, the cage fight and the Bola here. Pointers have all the resources available to win this fight.
Yeah, they're trying to punch the overcommit that the Aces did previously, but it's that Halo Knight that goes down first. So Steven's Point want to keep this going. Sound Barrier is committed. They have a bunch of pillowy overhelp, but what can they do with it? There's the cage fight on the objective. But it is more than they can chew. You're making such a big commitment. You cannot afford to lose this fight, and that's exactly what is happening. Aces, they have so much more healing with 1 Hickory and Elise still on their feet. They'll make the recovery after all, and that early pick onto Halo Knight, it meant everything.
Yeah, the early pickoff, it's a little bit of a slow bleed effect, but it eventually leads to the Aces to winning Gardens. They'll even us up here, unless, actually, no, there will be a quick touch here from Magic Man, but I don't know how quality is going to be.
Got walked on and smacked around, courtesy of 1 Hickory. The sub coming into play, Brig, and it's looking pretty darn good if you're here to slap some people. South Point, oh my gosh, Steven's Point, though, they're going to have to look for another answer. It is 2-0 now from the Aces.
Yeah, 2-0 from the Aces, trying to bring this to a 1-1 series, turn this best of 5 into a best of 3, and yeah, that was disaster. It, just to put it pretty blunt, like, use everything. You have now Halo Knight swapping over to the Kiriko. Yes, it'll help deal with some of these sleeps and the Bionage from Elise, but you have nothing to work with here for at least the next fight or two.
Yeah, the Aces will feel pretty good about taking a fight on the cap. Not only do they have the better, like, just first positioning here, but you also are going to have, like, 3 buttons that you can push that make Steven's Point topple over. It does actually get forced back. That is a Cardiac Overdrive committed very early on into that point, but it does come at the cost of 1 Hickory. So throw it onto Lizard. It's more of what we were expecting to happen, but there's the Death Blossom. Get loose. Doing a bit of a tango. Take care of Gaming Lily. Aces feel much more confident now, having 3-player advantage, and you bet that they're going to use it at that point earlier on and aren't going to let it go.
Yeah, nice little flip there for the Aces and sends the Pointers reeling. And now going to this next fight again, still Rally, Nano, Tack, Terra Surge. Ults on ults here for the Aces. They got more than 1 ace in their sleeve. They got all 4 in the deck going into this fight, and the Pointers gotta either just force out, honestly, if you can force out 2 or 3 ultimates but you lose the fight, it's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, they're close to some of their own, but if you're Steven's Point and ult tracking, you're not really expecting that to be a thing. Bit of a 1v1 here, off to the side while the Terra Surge takes care of it. Get loose though, yeah, you'll get the pick, but because the majority of your damage was off chasing the little Freya on the side, you gotta come back and kill everything. That's another double for Get Loose. This Reaper is blasting and walking, but now it literally has to be a 5k or nothing here for the Aces. Getting a lot of stall, good amount of extra percentage gains. It actually will get the Aces to that fight territory, but they just didn't get to use the resources.
Yeah, so Steven's Point, we said, hey, best case scenario might just be getting resources out, but ends up them eventually getting that fight. Hey, Lizard, I respect.
Good try.
Like,
good try.
I think she's gonna try one more time. Well, maybe not. Maybe not.
I got a little bit distracted there. It was worth a shot. I bet that's possible. I haven't seen it done, but we'll have to see it someday. Blair, though, that's not what you want to see. If you are Steven's Point, eats an icicle between the eyeballs. The Aces, they're reeling once more. Despite having all of these great tools to use, they just don't get the opportunity to use them. Giving Lily a sniper on this May of all things, and it seems that Steven's Point have found the answer is if Aces can't press the shiny buttons, we just win.
Yeah, if we just play early enough, then there's nothing they can do. It is a thought process of Steven's Point, and they will avoid the sweep here on Suravasa, and we'll go over to our next flashpoint. Aces still whole lot of ultimates in the bag. They've been holding on to these support ultimates for a very long time here, Molly. And at some point, they've got to get used.
I would imagine this next fight will be Kitsune Rush from Halo Knight. Makes me think that should force at least a rally, potentially a nano. Get Loose, though, nearing yet another Death Blossom. As we move far away from the fight, as the Wraith Form had to be expended early on. There'll be early positioning going over to the Aces. Again, many shiny check marks that you just gotta use them. You gotta find the window and you gotta try to get yourself an advantage before your opponent can strike, but instead it will be the Kitsune Rush from Halo Knight laying out the red carpet for Lizard, who is turning and burning as the Melga, but it won't matter. Get Loose yet again, wants to be the hero for this fight, gets two off the Death Blossom. Cage is popped, but it's just a sad, sleepy Melga caught in a Terra Surge. The Schmungus will happily smash into a pancake.
Man, these Death Blossoms tonight getting way more value than they typically do. Beautiful. They're able to kind of close that fight out when it felt like the pointers were starting to run away with it, and now it forces a swap. Lizard giving up on the Mauger play. She will go over to the Ramatra. Pretty good counter here for the Orisa, but again, they still have both support ultimates and Visor still having to be worried about, but now they at least have that sound barrier to answer.
You have something, right? There is a win con for Steven's Point to react, but nope, they're just gonna identify, Get Loose, and put a bounty on him for murder. And, well, he is currently dead. So Aces down a big chunk of frontline damage, makes it easier for Lizard to push up. And the Blizzard will not really catch on to anybody. I think it caught one Hickory at the tail end, but it's just the Orisa bunkering down a point. Lizard wants nothing to do with that. She just wants these little squishies wandering around in the back line with the help of Magic Man. Grabs a couple final blows. Steven's Point will get a flip. Once again, one fight territory for the Aces.
Yeah, but can they convert this time around? That'll be the question. Now, Steven's Point actually able to hold out in the sound barrier because of the fact that the Aces use nothing in a fight that could win them the map. Nothing used. So you gotta be wondering if they're waiting for some sort of set play or something like that, or if they're just trying to challenge where they don't want to use the ult. But regardless, Steven's Point, they're not going to complain.
Now, you are happy as a clam if you are a Pointers fan. The Aces, though, quite the opposite. Get Loose, sent it reeling off the map, booped by Magic Man, and the sound barrier is there to answer the rally. The one Ikri was attempting to whack some sense into the back line. Lizard attempting to look for the Ana, eventually gets Elise as she's rudely awakened. There's a second onto one Hickory. There's just not a chance for these ultimates to be used, Jesse. Steven's Point, they're just going too fast.
Yeah, they're going too fast. Aces just kind of going a little bit slow into these fights, and Steven's Point, they're not going to complain whatsoever. Bye-bye, Soldier. Bye-bye potential of attack Visor in this fight.
Well, it better hope a Terra Surge from Schmungus can do it for the Aces, because it's going to be rough from here on out. Hollow Knight going down first is the best case scenario now for this team. Nano boost onto Schmungus. Last section not anticipating the extra damage. And there we go, the eliminations ringing true for Evansville. And it seems they have finally found their way towards this point, towards an answer. when it started to look a little rocky at the end. Stevens Point hovering around, but no touch in sight. Evansville will tie our semifinal up at 1-1.
The Aces starting to find their groove here in Flashpoint, evening us up at 1 apiece. And now we got a best of 3 on our hands, everybody, here in Division 9. And so, hey, you know, the Soldier's gone. No Tac Visor, but Schmungus, time and time again, stepping up here on the take. And I love this. Like, hey, we don't need to get the damage on everybody. You just find Gaming Lily. Wait for them to try and get out of that ice block, try and run away. You take the May completely out of the equation, and the Aces even us up.
Yeah, we got there eventually, and like the Aces, I'm starting to have a love-hate relationship with them because when they have their set plays, it's great. It is a team wipe. It's over. It looks beautiful. However, we've waited a long time for these set plays, and it's a little terrifying as somebody who wants to see them succeed. And it gave a lot more ground than it arguably could have in that particular map. And I do hope going forward that is something that, you know, they'll start to realize a little bit more and adjust, because if they can continue to cycle their ultimates like that, Lizard just running it down completely by herself, if you can manage to isolate the rest of the team like the Aces did successfully on the fights that were won, Lizard is not nearly as terrifying.
No, as soon as I can get that cycle going, instead of Lizard being able to think, hey, how can I make a giant impact on this fight? How can we go make a set play? It's, oh, how do we deal with this? Oh, how do we deal with that? Like, that is the thought process that's going to start in her head. So that's going to be the thing here. We'll have to see if anything does change. But yeah, now the power is back in the hands here. Actually, I shouldn't say back. The first time today, actually, in the hands here of the Pointers on where we go and kind of how this series is going to progress here.
It sure is, and we're going to give them a little bit of time to think that one out and come up with a brand new strat for bet number 3. We're going to set it to a quick break, and we'll be back with a continuation of our Division 9 semifinal. number 3 of our Division 9 semifinals is right around the corner, and we've got ourselves a series on our hands. 1-1 is where we currently stand between the Evansville Aces and the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Jesse, going ahead. It is now Stevens Point's map picks after looking really strong on Ilios. Where are they going to take us next?
It's a great question. I have a feeling dive-ish. Like, when you have the hazard, traditional dive maybe isn't always the best. Like, he's almost kind of that dive rush hybrid to where he has to be very selective on how he's initiating these dives. It's not like Diva where you have a ton of movement, or Winston where you have the bubble to play around. You kind of just dash in and then kind of guard like, oh, live, heals, and then, you know, kind of rerun that over and over. So it's going to be maybe a little bit different, but I could see us maybe even going to like a Ruinasapi. Like, that's a very good dive map, very good hazard map. I could see Kings Row. It's not a bad hazard map, but there's also, you know, a million things you can run on Kings Row, including the Malga and the Orisa that we saw a lot of during that last map. So pretty wide range of options here for these teams to kind of get into it a little bit. As now we're sitting here at 1-1. A game that, admittedly, granted, because the site kind of baited us a little bit on a certain result, a lot better than we thought it was going to be. And in fact, we're getting number 2 of 3 on the collegiate special. It's Kings Row.
Nice. You love to see it. And hey, we could get all 3 if we go to a map 5 or map 6.
We have to go 6. We'd have to go 6, I think.
Well, it could be. We'll cover that option when we get there. So
yeah.
much. But we will be going to Kings Row for sure. This is the brawl map that we were thinking of. Not the idea that we had in mind for for Stevens Point, based on what their strengths were back on Ilios, but they're gonna pick it anyways and ban out the Reaper.
Yeah, banning out the Reaper, just getting rid of it right away. Like, don't want to deal with it. And it's actually the other Kiriko ban that is possible. It was banned in map 1 by Stevens Point. Now it's banned here by Evansville. So no matter what, Kiriko will be available for the rest of this series. May just be a little bit longer until we have to get to see her back in action. And Stevens Point, I'll say they're still doing a lot right now, so I'm going to let them just figure themselves out. For the Aces, why not? Keep Schmungus on the Sarissa looked fantastic during map 2 on Saravasa. And we actually see now why that Moira ban came in from Stevens Point last map, because of the fact that One Hickory is now on the Moira.
Okay, One Hickory. That suddenly the ban's making quite a bit of sense here on this particular map. So extra healing, you would say. One that's more kind of general frontline presence and sustaining in the fights to help with this insane amount of burst damage. I can already tell you, Blizzard is about to be turned into a pin cushion.
Yeah, again, this is going to be a little tricky because now, again, you don't have that Suzu to kind of work around for other teams. So yes, that Bastion can be dangerous, but also can be burned very easily.
Yeah, Blair, a very glass cannon type of pick, similar to the Malga. And in this case, there's so many eliminations happening that the one that has the tank is in the better hands. At this point, it is. And mind you, haven't given up a tick yet. It will be an ice block from Gaming Willie. They'll live a bit longer. Close to the Blizzard, yes, but because nobody from the Aces is able to go up and Schmuck his health bar, gets absolutely melted. And One Hickory, no! Caught up on the corner of the Maywall. No escape for him. Retreat back into the hotel to try to face off against Magic Man. Escape option number 2 will work, but this time Lizard has returned from the grave and is ready to do some classic. Now the stump, and no more touches now for the Aces. It'll be Stevens Point first cap.
Yeah, Stevens Point, they will cap first here, just under 5.5 minutes going into the streets phase. And it will be, there's a lot of these very quick fights, whether it be a kill from Blair here on the Bastion, or on the other side, just a dive in and a punish from Lizard. But expect these to continue to be very fast, and that's why you see Aces playing very far back.
You kind of have to here. You almost want to bait Lizard in to hit the bio nade, to hit the Bastion, the Hanzo, whatever get loose and Blair have thrown at them. Or in this case, a Terra Surge that Schmungus managed to squish Simply Talk with without the extra range damage. It's not terrible for Stevens Point, but you still don't want to stick around at 4v5.
Yeah, no, you don't want to stick around at 4v5, especially when spawns are that close. There's no reason to really tempt fate. You can play this a little bit slow. Still got 4.5 minutes left in the bank, and now you have the Blizzard. So as long as it doesn't get eaten by the jab spin, you have a pretty decent win con.
Oh, but
Oh,
Nano
why?
stuck in the back line. One Hickory and Elise just got sat on by Lizard running full steam ahead. And that fight, over in a blink of an eye, only Get Loose remaining. They gonna find
Yeah, and Get Loose is just getting well, I was like getting the heck out, but they're actually hiding in this subway. But
They didn't hear him.
Steven's point, they don't hear him. You could tell he moved a little bit and then stopped. It was like, oh, it's almost like a quiet place, right? Like you gotta be quiet or he's gonna, you know, yikes. But yeah, he will actually live and get a pick. No way!
That is best case scenario now for Get Loose. They're the ultimate they wanted to see. Okay, Get Loose might be dead. The Dragon Strike at least went off. It sends Lizard running for the hills, but is rudely turned into a kebab by Schmungus. And point will be reset a little bit as the ACT Sports come roaring back. Ooh.
Yeah, Ace is
National?
great. I don't know if they needed that. I think that was maybe feeling
Celebratory
themselves
fireworks.
a little. Yeah, just a little bit. Well, we're a little bit past 4th of July. But why not throw some fireworks in the windstorm? Hey, it might actually warm you up at this point. It's a little over 3 minutes. Hey, Coalescence still available here for Hickory. That might give Schmungus just enough of that health to build up that Terra Surge or even compare it, depending on how Schmungus does. But they'll play a little passive due to that Bio Nade, and that'll usher in the pointers.
There's that stop in from Lizard. Instant Bio Nade. The Sound Barrier has to come out in response. Great work from Elise. The rest of the aces trying to get a back pedal. Smungus knows that he can't, so pop the Terror Surge to get the extension on the Fortify. The last in Bio Nade from Halo Knight and Elise doing some real pain towards these tanks, but it's Lizard who's in a much more terrible spot currently in Gaming Lily. Took the role of the new tank, which they're really regretting as a decision. One Hickory Get Loose. They had to bring out the brooms, and everybody else remaining back to the boss.
Yeah, this hold continues now. 3 minutes gone. Only 2.5 minutes to go here for the Aces, and they're looking better and better with every single fight. And just because of how kind of this section of the map works, like you kind of said earlier, they're kind of just baiting in this rush from Lizard and everyone else, and just having that counter punch ready to go. Blair is being a little more defensive with that turret form, and it's really been helping deny Lizard, which, yeah, she's trying to make something happen, but it's so hard when, especially when they dive in, there's no Suzu to cleanse.
Yeah, you almost need to wait for these cooldowns to be out.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't charge in like this anymore. You're just instantly gonna get bionated. This time, Lizard, you just don't have way to escape. Ends up separating, but no! The Nano at the last second. Hickory wasn't quite ready for it. And there's a pick on the second support. All right, Lizard, I take it back. You had a Nano boost. You had trust in your Halo Knight. And suddenly, it's a very winnable situation for Steven's point. Only one ult needing to be used. That is second point completed.
Yes, second point through. It took a little bit longer than maybe what the pointers were thinking it would, but still 2.5 minutes going into this time. Like, not horrible considering how this point can really snowball out of control if you are the defense. But ult advantage is in their favor. Nano to go put on to Schmungus. Still got their artillery strike, and the Dragons ought to be used early to split up Blizzard with the rest of the team, but doesn't seem like there will be the punish.
Halo Knight got like half gobbled up, but we'll end up skirting off to the side there, out of range. Can't quite say the same for Get Loose though. Gets caught off by Lizard in that side room, but a fantastic Terror Surge from Schmungus helps bring it back. The Sound Barrier, it's just too much pillowy overhealth to burn through with one measly Coalescence. One Hickory doing his best, but there's little you can do. Tank named the Lizard is coming at you like a freight train. Ended up off the map somehow. Not entirely sure how that happened, but I can guarantee you, Steven's point, aren't questioning it.
Yeah, no, that was weird. Actually, this is a brilliant cage fight on the right. That'll deny the touch initially, but the Fortified Orisa makes its way through.
I was going to say, Schmungus makes his own rules when you're a Fortified Orisa, but the Blizzard can't do anything about it. You already used your I can move away from your CC, cool down, simply talk, laying down the rest of the damage. It's only Blair that really remained, and that wasn't for very long at that. Lizard turns right back around, and that's Steven's point with full completion and about 1:30 on the clock.
Yeah, not too shabby considering, man. Streets phase was rough for the pointers. They kind of got stuck there for a long time, but eventually able to find something here. We have a attack pause queued here. I don't remember if it actually is. Well, we're gonna give it to him anyway. Why not?
Cool.
It's Division 9. We'll you know, we'll give it to him. We'll see what these teams want to do. And honestly, again, it can help both teams. It's at least at the halfway mark. of this map. But no, I think Stevens Point did a great job, especially near the end. Like, hey, they're going to be waiting out these dives. So can we find some sort of other value beforehand to try, especially draw out the bio nade before we enter in, especially that first fight of third phase. They find Get Loose just in no man's land by a Mega, and that forces the other side to panic a little bit, right? Evansville trying to make something out of it. They use the Terra Surge and actually get naded because of how long they were standing still. So, again, some great adaptation actually from both teams during this map, but now it's up to Evansville. They've been great at these offensive pushes. Can they get it going here now in the streets of London?
I think the momentum here will be a bit better. We did see Lizard start to struggle, like on the Malga before, when she couldn't charge in like that. At least has been on it when it has come to these different, like the bionades, the sleeps, whatever that might be. Ensuring any time Lizard is like even a pixel in her sightlines, all those cooldowns are landing, and because the Kiriko's banned, it's the best spot for it to be. I think, like, because of that, there's the more stable composition, at least in terms of the Orisa that Schmungus is pulling for the side of the Aces. But they need to find a good win con here, because if they continue, when the fights that they started losing, the cooldowns were landing, but it's because they were separated just enough that Lizard had a small room that she could just sneak off into for a bit, and then help work with one of her DPS to finish off an elimination before returning to the main team fight. Those instances is where it got scary, so I'm hoping going forwards that is something that is identified. And on King's Row, you can just kind of walk in together, all hold hands, and be super happy about that. Because that's just the power of friendship, people. That's what's going to win you this in more ways than one.
Just lock in arms and just full, like, Naruto running towards the opposite team and just no care in the world whatsoever. So yeah, this will be interesting now. Evansville, again, that Orisa playstyle as well is very defensive when it's countering out the Maga. So if they want to stick it here, some of these fights are going to be a little bit awkward because, again, you're almost waiting for Lizard for her to commit to some of these fights. So it's going to be a little tricky for Evansville if they want to stick the Orisa, if they want to go something else, or even if they want to match the Maga themselves. They haven't really shown the willingness or the want to do that so far. So, again, it's probably not going to happen. But they could, especially since it'll work a little bit better here on offense rather than the defense. Yeah. Again, you have to play your angles right. You're almost waiting for, like, those kill boxes for the offense to push through to really initiate those dives.
And Gaming Lily's May. And that's another thing that
the May's been great.
About. The May's been huge, and King's Row defense arguably, or just King's Row in general, one of the best maps that you could possibly pull that pick out. They've been playing it pretty much the entirety of our series so far today. I cannot imagine why that would change now. And it's just another thing that Evansville have to worry about going ahead into their own attack. There's so many things that can go wrong in these initial pushes, and playing something like the Zarya that's being teased now is only amplified but if you are in fact running into this Malga May that Stevens Point will commit to.
Yeah, this Malga May can be a little scary, right? Like, especially if you isolate some of these kill boxes. It's especially great. Shumangas can potentially get up, but if they're in the punch animation and then get hit with the rush from Lizard, you're dead. Like, she's just dead, like, point blank. So this is going to be really tricky for the Aces to play around. You can see already the pinch ready to go. The wall on the one side, the Mog on the other. Ooh, oh God, oh God.
That is going to probably be the toughest tank you can walk into this conflict.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't think Shumangas knows the defensive setup that Stevens Point currently have, but he's going to find out shortly, I can tell you that much. And it's not a lot of burst damage either. You're either relying on Blair to just get a pick off or get loose to get a hack and maybe, like, isolate somebody. But there you go. One of the win cons worked. In fact, two of them. Blair, that's a 2 for 2 now on the last 2 shots. Make that 3, Blair! What in the world is this? I just forgot it's Division 9 for a second. That's a 3K for the Widow. It's looking for even more, but that won't quite have the same success there. That just frees point space for the Aces. Stevens Point, they're gonna attempt to get a retouch, but Lizard, she's here by herself. She might just get burned down if she's not careful, but no, it's instead Halo Knight that falls in the back line to a Moira Orb, chucked by one Hickory. Eventually with the tank falling, and Blair still landed the shots. This is as good as done for the Stevens Point defense.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Oh, they're back on Maga. All right, I guess we'll go back to the Orisa. No fun. Almost feels like some of the ranked games I've been in recently was Zarya's either banned or just countered to the nth degree. With the Aces now, they had pretty similar time bank to what Stevens Point had. So it's going to be very important. This Streets phase, can Stevens Point mount a similar defense here, or is Aces going to enter that third phase with a lot of time?
Well, shorter than initially, since Get Loose has already hit the deck. The site, so I mean, it'll buy some space for you to be able to work with, but Simply Talk has been very good about just popping the shots into either Schmungus or Blair if he can get the proper sight lines to do so. Bioti out pretty early, too. From Halo Knight, it's safer for Schmungus to move in, and Cardiac Overdrive. But Get Loose is just not having a good time at all on the Sombra. But what it does do is it gives time for Blair to hit the flank and hit the 2 headshots again. This is Aces Esports just saying, Blair, go kill, go hit your shots, we believe in you. And yeah, okay, that angle's not doing you a bunch of favors, but it fought all the time, it bought all of the space you could possibly want, and eventually, that's just a whole nother fight win.
Yeah, fight win, forces Lizard to back up, and Stevens Point will now have to hold in the same spot where the Aces held for about 3.5 minutes. And honestly, the Maga, yeah, you want to have to be your #1 win con, but when your supports and your DPS are dying from a Widow, the Maga really can't do a whole lot.
Well, Lizard's about to do a whole lot. She has decided that she wants to play the game. The Nano Boost will certainly help with that factor. Schmungus doing some attempts to save this fight, but there's just so many healing come into the Orisa at the Parasurge. He just can't do much about it. Stevens Point, it's Lizard hanging around, managed to stomp on Get Loose, but that's been about how it's been going for the Aces, and they're not allowed to let this momentum end. If they can get a stagger or two onto Lizard, that might just be point.
Yeah, that should be, especially if the tank is gone. Stevens Point will have no staying power here on the card. So that should be Streets phase complete and still a fantastic time bank going into the final phase. 4.5 minutes here for the Aces. Lizard will have the swap. She will go over to the Ramatra for this final phase. It definitely matches up a little bit better going against the Orisa, but man, a whole lot of work to do here for the Pointers.
I mean, there's EMP online for Get Loose. Blair still always a lurking threat on the sides if they're not properly contested. Get Loose, oh my. Okay, just stay on the map, so it's okay there. Gonna look for the EMP eventually, but for now, doing the manual hack onto Lizard. Nano Boost onto Schmungus, help force, but immediately answered Matchman. Not messing around, 5-man EMP on the board for Get Loose. The Sombra not been having a good time, but that's the way you want to break the door open. But unfortunately, it's a 1-for-1 and not a favorable one. It's only now with Elise taking the role of the bloodthirsty support. Her Ana is getting these kind of blows. Get Loose, teleporter onto a third, and they are still kicking.
Yeah, Aces continue to roll on, and at some point, the Pointers, they gotta find a stop to the bleeding, or the Aces are gonna run this all the way to the end. Still 3.5 minutes, and Blair finds another!
They have so much high ground to work with now. He has all the space for free. Schmungus can do whatever the heck he wants. Yeah, it's just done. Just like that. Stevens Point, you don't have a good way to get back towards the objective. Blair is quite literally spawn camping you at this point. 3 minutes, 11 seconds left to go. That is a fast pace if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that is an electric pace from the Aces. They will now defend first. They have 3:11 for their time bank and overtime. Stevens Point have about half of that. So, yeah, definitely advantage towards the Aces here in map 3, but definitely not out of it here are Stevens Point. But I feel like this Maga setup has truly been found out and figured out by the Aces. Evansville continue to kind of put Lizard in these awkward spots, or on offense, like, hey, Blair, go shoot things. Because at that point, you don't got to worry about the Maga at all.
That was literally Blair. Like, I was genuinely thinking, there's no way Azaria gets past this Mauga and May. And I was right. Sorry, did not get past the Mauga and May. That fight and multiple fights after that were won because Blair got like 2 to 3 headshot kills, which is unheard of in this current day and age of Overwatch. He won't be playing it, though, on the defense. It's going to opt for the Soldier 76. Yes, a safer pick, but it doesn't have the same threat, not the same amount of impact without more amounts of damage and needing Schmungus to live longer in these frontline battles, which was a problem earlier on in the series.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, we started off like, hey, Stevens Point, they're kind of upset potential. Map 2, it feels like, hey, the Ace is starting to really settle in. They're really starting to figure this out, and it kind of feels like more of the same, but Get Loose is getting a little greedy with their positioning, and now let's see if the pointers can take advantage.
Sombra thinks they're invincible until you met with the Tracer, and that's exactly the message that Simply Talk sent to Get Loose. Schmungus hit with a Bionade, and down below half HP, and on the back foot, Steven Point looked to execute their dive. Blizzard going in first, that bubble melted, and with the Bionade to follow up, she bit off way more than she could chew there. And the Aces, despite losing their player first, they'll manage to find a fantastic recovery doing a turn and burn.
Yeah, it's the fact that they go from, hey, they lose their Sombra right away, and they still flip it around, hey, it's 4v5. All right, we like those odds. Like, it's crazy here. And Stevens Point now, more changes. Lizard will just give up. They'll go back and give up at least the initial game plan. They'll go back over to the Ramatsu to try and play this out, but only 25 seconds here, Molly. Not a whole lot of time.
Yeah, this is my last fight. There won't be any ultimates for either team to use, likely, unless your name is Schmungus here, who's been struggling to stay alive. It's 1-for-1 in the DPS department. The Aces are trying their best to stabilize Blair. Wraps around the back to grab Magic Man. At this point, here the Aces are kind of starting to sweat it, but they don't win the race to the ultimates. Elite chucks the nano onto Schmungus with her dying breath, initiating the Terror Surge. It buys the time, and Blair is still cooking, still hot from his previous streak on the Widowmaker, replicating that on the Soldier 76. Lizard barely gets the Nemesis form up in time, has the extra damage to block through. Is the healing going to be present? You can see how much this tank is surviving, or struggling to survive, rather. Visor down, out for Blair. Already thought he had aimbot, now he actually does. It's a 4K for the Soldier 76, and the Aces, that's a full hold now, after struggling to find their footing on the defense the first time.
Yeah, no, that defense was near perfection. And the fact that at the end, Blair pops the tac visor, got the mythic gun as well, and just pops off for the end of the map, end of the round, and potentially feels like the end of the map here, as the Aces, all they need is a tick to win this map and to get themselves in match points to make that grand final here in Division 9 Central. But we'll still see here. Obviously, a chance, regardless here, of the pointers to earn a draw. And we were talking about map 6 earlier. The odds definitely not looking like it'll happen. But hey, you never know. It depends on what the pointers are cooking. They'll kind of go back to what felt at least comfortable near the end with the Ramatra and the May.
Going back to what has been solid for this team before, and maybe it works, but you just gotta contest Blair. And there's just not a way to do that with this particular composition. I think the Sombra that Simply Talk is on can certainly help, but it's not going to solve every answer, especially if Blair just sits up here. Like, he's not really gonna be scared of the Sombra at this current range, but Aces, they have time to work with. It's not like they have to try to force these fights. All they need is a single tick, Jesse, and the map is theirs.
And that's what.
yeah,
Magic Man. I don't know, man. That is not the call I would make right now, considering the issues during your first defense. God, that was. Whew, that gets the blood pumping.
Dude, I actually would have cried.
Oh,
Magic
my
Man,
God.
playing with our hearts here, buddy, but put all the magic into that one fancy peak there. We'll be okay to fight another day.
Oh.
Halo Knight, on the other hand, though, that's arguably worse, because now you have less sustain, and no way for Lizard to consistently get away from the fight. At least nice Bionade onto 2 to help seal the deal for the Aces Esports on their victory lap now, with full supports walking their way back to the spawn. Lizard does need to be cleaned up rather quickly to ensure there won't be any problems, but with these last couple of final blows ringing on through, it's the Aces coming back strong. They've only lost 2 maps all year, Jesse. They weren't about to add a third to that list, or at least let it be Kings Row. Match points now for Evansville.
Evansville 1 map away from that final, and now Stevens Point gotta find something in the tank to extend this out to a game 5. But The odds obviously not in their favor as MTSU Bolt. They await the winner of this for the Central Final. That'll be in 2 weeks. But again, during this attack, man, it felt like Stevens Point in a great spot. This Maga gameplay was getting a lot of value. And then slowly but surely, Evansville really started to figure it out. And once they did, it just felt like Stevens Point never really found the correct pivot to really get the momentum back in their favor.
Yeah. And honestly, it might have been their own Kiriko ban, dare I say.
Yeah.
Like, that's
It was
really
rough.
rough. Like, as soon as... it was like a flip switch, right? When we saw that, you know, the Aces were figuring out, you know, we don't have to just let this Malga run into our backline and ignore him. We can do our casual turnaround. At least we'll hit all of her cooldowns because she's just that good.
She's fantastic.
And
yeah.
we just destroyed Lizard. Like, there's not anything that she could do about it once she's already in the backline using the charge to get there. So once that strategy was figured out, and then Blair had the map of his life, holy,
Yeah.
on the Widowmaker and the Soldier 76 too. Like, I know we are definitely not going to any escort map
No.
after that. I think that would be absolutely insane unless you're banning the Widowmaker, but there's a lot of things that I think have woken up for the Aces in order to solve the problem that has been Stephen Point's Malga composition, or rather Lizard's pressure, the control she's had over the tempo so far. That's thrown out of whack, and something needs to be reevaluated if we're going to be going to a map 5.
I will say, maybe this is like throwing a dart out there. We'll see if it lands. New Queen Street, because the Soldier...
New Queen Street!
New Soldier, and Soldier can be played still. And maybe Stevens Point won't realize that. It's the one of the few maps that legs can actually work. Don't blame me. Blame Northeastern and NC State.
Okay,
they have caused me this disease of thinking about the Soldier on New Queen Street.
But the Aces want Soldier. You don't pick that.
No, that's
if
what I'm
you're
saying. I
Stevens
don't think
Point.
Stevens Point realize it. They
Oh,
whoops.
you think they're going to pick it and not knowing that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because it's still very fast paced. It's a great Maga map. It's very linear, right? Like there's not really a whole lot for them to kind of run away from this Maga. And the Yana, there's a lot of different ways and off angles where they can pressure the Yana for the time for a Lizard can go in. But we'll see here. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not in the comms. No. Nice little hour and a half drive. Maybe I can get back by the time the cooldown and the debrief is done with this game. But no, this is going to be a very important map here for Stevens Point. If they can either extend this out to map 5, or if they will have to play in that 3rd place game against the ISU Redbird Resurrectors, which holy name, by the way, ISU. Whatever.
We love lawsuit syllable names.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, especially in play-by-play, when you got to say that really fast. And there's like other times, because I can't just say like Wisconsin, for example, because it could be like the University of Wisconsin or Wisconsin State, and then that could really upset some people.
Did you just say Wisconsin State?
I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Oh,
Wisconsin.
wait, okay.
I was just like Stephen Point's in Wisconsin. We were on the topic. I swear. But anyway.
I lost so much trust in you at that moment.
Okay, that's...
We're
That's
not
not
like
valid.
Illinois, where we got Illinois State. We're not like
We do.
Michigan and like Ohio and Michigan
Okay, so
State,
you can
Ohio
see
State.
why. There's like, you know what? It's in the
Yes,
general
but
area.
we're
Surely
cool.
that
We
exists.
actually name it after the cities. Like it's UW Stevens Point, UW Madison, UW Green Bay. You know what I mean? Like we're cool
That's why I said
up
the
here.
University of Wisconsin. That's why I used this example, because Stevens Point is cool.
Yes,
All right?
but then you say Wisconsin State. Oh my God. My brother's gonna have a field day with that. I just know
I'm
it.
totally expecting to get an angry DM in approximately 3 minutes when
Oh
this
yeah,
eventually
and
goes
we know
on
he's in
stream.
chat because we saw him lurking
do, we
around
do.
earlier.
I know. I already got some heat for my salt on the cookie take, so yeah, we'll we'll see how that airs out. But all those things considered, though, I'm gonna say this because I'm just not a fan of New Queen Street. I don't think people
Okay.
pick New Queen Street unless they have a strat.
Very
Unless you
true.
have a specific plan for this objective, I don't feel like it's a very well-liked map because it can feel uncomfortable a lot, and if you don't, it's one of those maps that you have to know in order to play well. I don't think you can just show up and say, I want to play New Queen Street, and not really practice it. It's not like a King's Row that you can just rinse and repeat for me. So
True.
that's kind of my opinion on that map. So unless it's like a special like strat, is that the only other map type? It's either push or escort, right?
Yeah, push or escort are left. So unless if they want to go
probably don't
push,
want
but not that, they could go like Runasapi, or obviously like one of the more consistently played, or even Esperanza could get thrown into the mix. For escort, probably not Rialto, right? Like you don't want to go long range, so probably not Rialto. As much as you maybe want to go.
Not long range.
It's a great question.
Which map? Yeah, maybe one escort map that you're not playing Widowmaker on.
Next question. That's what the Widow ban is for. That's what the Widow ban is for. You ban
but
that
what
out.
about the Ana ban? The Ana ban.
True.
I feel like you have to ban the Ana after
Okay.
that, especially
we got
how
some.
that goes. Oh, we do have
So
more info,
when in
though.
doubt,
Okay.
Stevens Point, have some subs. We got Flip Flop now coming in for Magic, and we
Okay.
got Alpocalypse coming in here for
Alpocalypse.
Lily. That is a fantastic. name.
Wow, that's creative. Honestly, if you did say it like that, I absolutely would have said Apocalypse and just.
It's
that's
that
just how my brain
sneaky
works.
little
So
L in there.
Apocalypse is
It's a
that's
little
so
sneaky.
smart. I love that actually. That's great. Apocalypse. I'm gonna have some fun with that. And Flip Flop. That's just a great. It's so we got some great names in the chat today, and I'm down for it. Schmungus gets to meet Apocalypse. A sentence I didn't think I'd be saying.
We got
so
one
much today,
Hickory.
so-
And-
Yeah, we got one Hickory. Dude, we got some
Dude,
fantastic names.
I would say NECC
skill.
undefeated with the names, whether it be the team names or the player names. I would say for the team names, I would say ISU Club are fantastic. Like the Resurrectors. They even like in the last few years, they've had some fantastic ones out there. Shout out ISU Club. But I will say this is again, it's some pretty solid names here. Division 9 really showing up in the uniqueness
do.
department here. Whether it be the compositions we're seeing, the plays, the names, everything across the board.
It's creative.
It's been one of my favorite series of this year. I won't even lie. It's been one of my favorite series to cast of the season because it's just been so random and so fun. But this is the way we want to go out before the holiday break.
Well, we might. Well, okay, yeah. Before the holiday break, sure. I was like, we might not go out after this map. We might get to a map 5. Which
But
is
in
cool.
general, yeah, could be
Hey,
another map 5.
I want to throw this out there because we were talking about this before the break. Every time that I have casted with you this season for NECC, our second game of the night, which is this one right now, has gone to at least a map 4, except for it's gone to map 5 every time, but once, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that
maybe
sounds right.
twice. I something along those lines. It has been almost in every time map 5. Gotta keep streak. We already got the map 4.
Yeah,
Wanna bring
see,
it
it's
to
not
5?
with me because the 1 week you were gone. And
No, I
CB
said
was
me
here.
casting with
Yeah,
you.
no, that's what I'm saying. I almost had that luck, but then when CB and I were casting, it was a sweep in both. So I'm not sure like if we gave the wrong aura out there. Like I'm really not sure what happened that got us those sweeps, but. No, for whatever,
Yeah.
you got the luck, which, if you've been following us as a duo for long enough, you know that's usually not the case.
No.
So that's why it's like, man, this is kind of crazy, actually, that we're having some pretty decent luck here in the second halves of these game
great.
nights, man. Ugh.
I'm laughing so much. My face, I don't know if you can see how red my face has gotten from how
Yeah.
much I've been having a blast with this particular match. Like, and when I heard we were casting Division 9, didn't really know what to expect from it. But it's so entertaining in the way that you never really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's also so much creative freedom for these players to change things up, keep us on our toes, and then therefore keep you on your toes as a result of that. So.
Oh,
It's
it's
been quite
been
a
like,
treat so far.
what is happening? Like, that's kind of been a lot of the
But a good
the
one.
moment. Oh, it's fantastic! Like, oh my God, Blair's popping off. We got
I know.
the Maga popping off. The Arissa bringing back fights that shouldn't be brought back. Having to say Schmungus in a hype moment without trying to say it wrong. Like, it's been
Not even in a hype moment. I gotta say it without like laughing. I love Schmungus, but it's like it's a great word, but it's just one that's very hard to like say without smiling. It's like bubbles. You remember when that was a thing? Like,
Oh
you
my
can't,
God, yeah.
Like say bubbles with an angry face. You just can't do it, and Schmungus does that for me. So that's just where we're at.
Yes!
There's no shot.
Yes! Redemption! Redemption for Sunday. Yes!
I refuse to believe that actually just happened.
Oh
Chippy,
my
please tell me
God.
that's a bait.
Oh,
I'm like,
I say, Prod, is this a bait or is this
Oh.
real?
honestly, that I would.
It's real.
Oh,
It's
Chippy.
real. Yes.
Shout out production and Chippy and Reach Dad today, doing a fantastic job. But I that would have been really fun if that was a joke. But it's not. So we are actually going to New Queen Street. Then again, this is not a map in my head that you typically pick unless you have a specific strat.
Sure.
You don't go in here just saying, I don't want to play Colosseo or Esperanza or Rundasapi because some of those maps are just a lot more flip-floppy. Maybe that's why they sent me flip-flop. I don't know. But we get to look at our bans here. This is not what I was expecting.
Not what I
so
was
the
expecting
Aces
at all.
will ban the Freya. They did have that second pick. We've seen a little bit of that, not a ton.
There were some
but-
things good.
Yeah, it's good, but I also don't feel like that's gonna help with the Ana problem.
I wonder if they're going Has and they don't want to deal with the Orisa into Has.
Yeah, it's better than the Malga here. for sure.
Yeah, it'll depend on what they roll. If it's still the Maga, granted they now have the Kiriko, right? They have those cleanses to play around. But no, this could still get a little dicey. But again, we also had the subs as well. 1 DPS sub, 1 support sub here for Stevens Point. So that does tell us that maybe something different is coming here for Stevens Point. At least for now, going back over to that Hazard.
The Hazard makes a ton more sense. I think Malga would be miserable to play on this particular map. Way too many little nooks and crannies you can hide in, and it's just open. Like, there's not, like, a ton of big cover that you can use consistently as a tank. But this is more what I wanted to see. This is the Stevens Point pick, right? I think that composition, like, on paper makes more sense. We get the return of the Humongous Doomfist for our upcoming Mac with Blair moving to a new hero, the Cassidy.
Yeah, the Cassidy kind of almost preempting the Hazard from Lizard, which honestly, it's a great guess. It's exactly what the pointers are running. Humongous might have a little bit of fun, though, going into this. Apocalypse is probably just going to chill by their own backline to make sure nobody dies early.
It's going to be really hard for Apocalypse to walk forwards on
Yeah.
the Reapers since you don't have a tank to give you that cover that we usually see in something with Zarya, but Blizzard just finds herself face to face with a giant punch and is set reeling off the edge of the map. Did die before that happened, so it's not too terrible. And then Blair is apparently just good on Cassidy as he's looked at any other hit scan so far.
Yeah, no, the hit scan prowess still shining through here, even though it's not the ones we've been seeing so far. Actually, almost eliminates one of the squishies for Stevens Point as they're walking away. But now, yeah, as soon as hell, it's Doom. All right,
Yeah.
well, let's go back to the Maga. Let's have some fun.
They'll have a little more fun, I think, on this comp. Again, it's just you gotta find a way from Elise. And if Get Loose and Blair don't play their positioning well, they'll be okay. But that's a great start, actually, for Apocalypse. Take away that main source of our Malga can't get close energy in the Reaper, then Blizzard's job gets a lot easier. Humongous, though, just kind of living by himself, doing what he wants. Gives his life for the one pick on Assembly Talk, and it'll just be enough for Stevens Point to flip the right around.
Yeah, Stevens Point, flip it. Apocalypse, just trying to chill. I think they're trying to figure out where Get Loose went, but eventually that is found out. That's a Halo Knight. Gotta play a little bit careful there. Can't lose your Ana that quickly into the fight, but the one big advantage here for Stevens Point, the Kiriko, not being played right now by Evansville, but also not being played by Stevens Point, so maybe a little bit of a catch-22.
Moira for one Hickory still, and then the flip-flop sub picking up the Juno, and having that orbital ray here is going to be huge for Stevens Point, especially since Tail Knight is already dead. Flip-flop opted to commit that now to keep Blizzard on her feet, attempting to charge away, gets a chunk of damage to the back, but there's way too much output in the front line. Apocalypse exactly where he needs to be, even TPing up to the higher ground. I'll finish off just what remains in Humongous at this time. That's a little rude. Well, maybe not rude, but unwarranted is a better way to put it.
It's a stylistic choice.
Yes,
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I the
I guess at the
pointers.
point.
Yeah, I know the pointers. They're like, hunting dogs, right? They're a little off on the hunt for that one. A little late to the party with the death blossom. But hey, they still get ticked. Advanced mods are active now for Stevens Point, and has forced some swaps as well from the aces. Okay.
Yeah, the Reaper's like 2 ships passing
Hey!
the night for the Wraith floor, but Get Loose still a Death Blossom in hand, and he's gonna get 2 coming from it with the help of Elise's Nano Boost. Robot flips right back around on his toes. The Humongous Diva pick, a new one from him. Working out so far on the first part.
Yeah, the Diva works out. Spawns, flipped back now to the neutral. And that'll be a big bonus here for Evansville already. Bionate throw in a Lizard, but not necessarily the punish right away.
Yeah, there's the cage fight we were talking about. Doesn't even need anything else to combo with it because Lizard's got his own her own personal blender to work with. There'll be 3 players locked up inside and shredded accordingly.
You're like, oh, don't mind if I do. I'll just swoop on in here and get some eliminations with the Nano. And now, because of the fact that the butt scratch already went away, Blair goes to Widow to try and make a difference and gets met with some shotguns from Alpocalypse, already making a pretty big difference in their first map of the series, but Get Loose decides to get even.
Yeah, it's been a lot of back and forth between these 2 Reaper players and Get Loose and Alpocalypse. More often than not, finding the first elimination, but being down at the fort here, gonna hurt Lizard quite a bit. And yeah, you'll get loose on the way out, but if you can't live, it's really all not that much worth it. And yeah, the couple picks onto the supports here. We'll go ahead and do it. Simply Talk, though, yeah, you're not fair against a whole mech. Dina, it's basically Thanos versus, like, a 5-year-old child.
Well, man, you're really pulling out of the references here today, man. That's rough.
Yeah,
Jeez.
It's a rough matchup. I don't want to be a full health diva fighting other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Simply Talk is not here at the beginning of this fight, which you would think would mean the Aces want to play this fast, but they're actually playing it still a little bit slow. They had a few stragglers die near at the end, but they're also trying to deal with Apocalypse, and they do successfully.
Apocalypse being nuked. I mean, Blair follows suit instantly after. Danked a shot from Simply Talk, and your Widow, you don't got a health bar, man, things like that. Simply Talk slid into the back line, looking to deal with Elise here, which we got this. There we go. All right, Simply Talk, I believe in you from the start. The Reaper, on the other hand, with help of Schmungus, that's a whole nother guy we gotta worry about. And yeah, Schmungus will be demeched here. Lizard finally where she wants to be in terms of these tank picks, and Steven's point, making sure these forward spawns keep getting rechecks, it just guarantees extra fights for them.
Yeah, as long as they can do the, win a fight, lose a fight strategy, they're going to be in a very good spot. Because it'll take a little bit of time here for Evansville, but it's also going to take a little bit of time for Halo to come back.
Something awoke in Blair
Yeah.
when we started King's Row, and I don't know what it was, but I want this kind of energy going into my ranked games for sure. Apocalypse, though, attempted to do a Death Blossom, forgot Diva has 5 seconds of nope, aka Defense Matrix at the ready, so didn't get all that much done. It's just an unfavorable fight. Blair getting way too much value on the Widowmaker, considering the composition that he's having to play into, and is making a rather wacky pick work on a very open map. Cage strike. Okay, we're still committing to this. I thought we'd kind of be done or on the way out, which might be since Hollow Knight ended up getting caught by Get Loose on the escape, and Lizard all alone there just can't make value out of the cage fight.
Yeah, cage fight, good in thought process, execution didn't necessarily go the way it was planned, and yeah, the skill issue voice line is that's crazy, Cobbs. Honestly, this is a great info site. This will allow them to get a full idea of what's going on. That'll send in the bomb.
No way! There's no way. I've not seen an aggressive Diva bomb in ages, and it catches Alanite completely off guard, just like it does as you take those. If you're the Aces, and they got their forward spawns checked, they desperately needed that. With how the pacing of the game has been going, Steven's point, they gotta get out, full reset, because you got the portal stick. Oh, but no, Lizard, she's just in there. She wants to fight until her own demise. That might just be what happens unless these heals come in fast. That's a flip-flop. Able to deliver. Schmuggets on his way out, smells the danger from a mile away, rather much closer to him now, with the early pin from Lizard, but a perfectly timed Bionade from Elise. Make sure the Cordia goes for drive, gets a whole lot of nothing done. Now with all of those tools expended, for Steven's point, is the Aces pushing forwards and getting the lead if they can clear up the point fast enough.
Yeah, they should be able to build a lead here, Molly. This is going to be big, this next fight. It'll either be the Aces kind of putting this out of range, or still giving the pointers a shot. And yeah, as soon as they realize the window's up here, like, no, let's relax a little bit, Blair. You've been popping off a little bit too much. I wonder if Schmungus just sends another self-destruct into the backline rather than using it for a remake. It got one last time. May not need one this time.
It's always Blair finding either Simply Talk or sometimes Halo Knight. Just poke their heads out a little bit too far. That self-destruct used to remake, but flip-flop, caught just hovering barely in the sight lines of Blair once more. That's Death Blossom attempt, but an attempt is all it shall be. Thanks to Schmungus holding the defense matrix to protect his team. The Aces get racing closer and closer to their finals position. One more chance for Stevens Point.
One final opportunity. Some swaps coming in now from Stevens Point. Lizard on the Has. Halo Knight on the Kiriko, but it'll be very short-lived, and it feels like the Pointers, yes, they held close. They got the zone to try and bring it back.
Simply Talk's gonna do it, but it's no healing available for Stevens Point. But they're making it work. No way! They might have traded the support on the other side. Aces, that was their fight to win, and it just might be set and done at that. Blair, yeah, to get a couple, but that is an insane turnaround for Simply Talk and Apocalypse.
Yeah, massive fight win there for Stevens Point. Still, obviously, some work to do, but you keep yourselves alive not only in this game, but in the upper bracket, not trying to play in that third place game in 2 weeks. But still, got to win a fight here towards mid, got to win a fight towards barricade, and maybe a stall after that. Still a long ways to go here for Stevens Point.
Blair, on such a strong angle, too. He's just chilling, like, oh my gosh, Simply Talk making me sweat again! That's a headshot, a second one to follow it up. Blair is on fire, and you just can't put him out. Aces, they're now up to its final fight territory. They have 3 ultimates still left in the tank, and another headshot. Blair is unstoppable. If the Aces are going to make it this finals, which they absolutely have, it's because Blair found the rhythm. This team came back after what looks like
that's rude.
Stevens Point starting off this fight, this series with a dominant map win. Evansville have made it to the Division 9 Grand Finals.
Yeah, a little bit of a scare during map 1. Stevens Point able to steal away Ilios. But from that point on, the Aces really were the ones that shined. Evansville will be in that central final for Division 9 in 2 weeks. And that should be a banger against MTSU. Bolt, I would say Lizard, if we're going to give an MVP for the losing team, it's got to be Lizard, right? She was all over the place, but it has felt like, especially near the end here, my God. It just Blair decides like, I'm going to just carry. I'm going to do my thing. And it ends up being what pulls the Aces towards their grand final.
And we're like, don't pick an escort map because they'll just play Widowmaker. And Blair's like, I don't care that you didn't pick an escort map. I'm playing Widowmaker anyways. And he just made it work so well for his team. And it was an interesting strat. It's not one that we see often with like these split type pushes, but if you have a player that's just that hot on a streak, you gotta lean into it, and that's exactly what we saw the Aces do at the end. They did drop their second map of the season, but Jesse, it's just that the second map of the entire season that they have played that they have lost, which is pretty ridiculous to think about.
Yeah, still an unreal stat, and obviously, they're feeling pretty good about themselves as they head into that final. And yeah, commiserations to UWSP. They will play the Redbird Resurrectors in that third place game also in about 2 weeks, but still a phenomenal season there for the Pointers overall. But yeah, that final, we'll see if we get, hey, maybe we can pull some strings if we're getting this type of game. I mean, I'm just saying, hey, NECC, maybe we can do this. But no, what an incredible game here tonight. And obviously the Pointers did great. You know, it's also great from Wisconsin. And goes great with gaming as well, Molly. Wenzel's Farm Meat Sticks. Legendary Wisconsin meat sticks since 1977. 14 mouth-watering flavors. Meet your heart out. Wenzel's Farm, a legendary Wisconsin meat sticks since 1977. And I won't lie, obviously this is more of like a Midwest thing. Definitely 'tis the season, right? Where hunting season is about to be here. This is when like you really want to get those meat sticks. Now have them on like as a opening dish for Thanksgiving. Hey, don't bash it until you try it.
I wouldn't blame you. That's what I'm saying. It's always worth a shot. And hey, Wenzel's Farm meat sticks, I've had some. They're pretty darn good. So definitely make sure to go check them out as well. Thank them for sponsoring NECC alongside Blue Light and Extron. That's the reason why we're able to make these fantastic broadcasts happen. But sadly, there will be no fantastic broadcast next week. We will be on break for Thanksgiving, and our grand finals will pick up the following week of the first weekend of December. Which you think about it, like December already? Oh, trust me.
Crazy.
It's almost there, people. And you know where you're going to be sending it? right here with us on the NECC Collegiate broadcast. We have all of our game titles reaching their final point of the season, so make sure you go ahead, drop a follow on the Twitch and YouTube channel. Make sure you stay updated on all of that. But that's going to do it for us here on the Overwatch Collegiate desk for the evening. Been Tiny Shiny Twin Salty, and we'll go ahead and see you on the next one. Have a great weekend, people.